What up? What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast, the highlight of Friday nights. As the gentleman on my left would always tell me, hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic Friday evening, coming off work, school, whatever the case may be. I am your host, Sports PSP. Unfortunately, one third of the panel, the great BRF Sports, is not here, but BRF, Mr. Atlanta, we love you. We'll hold it down for you. Thank you for your contributions for the Sports PSP podcast, as well as the Undisputed GOAT podcast. But of course, we cannot forget my main man, my gentleman to the left, all the way down from Columbus, Georgia. He is the five-time college degree champion. He is the military man and veteran. He's the Al Roker of journalism. He's the young Charles Barkley. He is the young Mark Henry. He is, sorry, he is the Ahmad Rashad of the WNBA, covering WNBA every single time. Last week, he was at the Las Vegas Aces versus the Atlanta Dream game. He was also there having a good time watching the game, and he was also there going to Magic City as well, too. This was his reaction to stopping at the ATL.
Damn. What a hell of a reaction.
Well, that's your reaction anytime when you go to Magic City, making them rain. He is D's hysterical, hilarious friend. He is Mama Champ's #1 favorite son. He is Ace's best sibling. There's a reason why his pops called him Champ for a reason. And on a note, he is one of the brilliant brothers in journalism. ESPN, or any other network out there, give this man a call. Give this man an opportunity to have his own show so that he could be the Brian Gumble, the young Brian Gumble of sports, the one and only, the big fella, undisputed world champ. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I just want to let everybody know you won't get me without PSP. So it's a two-package deal. You gonna hire me, gotta hire PSP. That's gonna be real, bro. So you won't get, in the great words of Spider-Man, all or nothing. So let's just keep it real. Got the Atlanta Dream shirt on right this instance, man. The Atlanta Dream. Hey, we took a L on this past Sunday, but I hope Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings have got themselves braced right about now because we're gonna take it to them tonight. Just being real. Glad to be Sports PSP podcast, man. Happy Memorial Day weekend to everyone. Let's remember what Memorial Day is about. I know everybody wants to get into the partying. I know everybody wants to get into the festivities. Everybody wants to get into the liquor and the women and the barbecuing. But let's not forget about the people that gave their lives so we can have this day, so we can have a 3-day weekend. It's not just a 3-day weekend. Pay homage to the people who paved way so we can have this weekend. You know, it is about the fallen soldiers of World War II, World War One, Vietnam, Korea, Iraqi freedom, you name it. And that's just the stuff that we know about. Me as a former military man, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about where people lost their lives. So let's not forget what this weekend is about. It is about fallen soldiers, and let's thank the ones that are no longer with us, and let's take the times to appreciate the ones that are with us at this point. So, look, just remember what this weekend is about. I know it's about, everybody wants to get into the festivities, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But let's remember what this is about, man. It's about the fallen soldiers, and just remember that.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better. Thank you to the military men and women for putting forth their lives every single day and making the sacrifices. Without y'all, we wouldn't be where we are today. A lot of problems going on in this world, but thank you every single day for putting on their lives, man. And of course, appreciate to Undisputed World Champ as well. For those who may not know, Undisputed World Champ, former military man and veteran, put his life on the line for this country as well. Made a lot of sacrifices. So, brother, thank you for your contributions as well. Give yourself a pat on the shoulder as well, man. Um, Friday, man. Good week. Good solid week. listen to that Drake album. It was actually a pretty good album. I mean, Iceman, some of the other albums. Have you listened to it by any chance?
I listened to it. I know Shebang is one of the biggest songs right about now. Got the ladies in the frenzy right about now. Shebang is a good one. Uh,
Janice, Janice, shut the fuck up. That's another one.
yeah, WNBA, that's a good one. So
Yes.
yeah, WNBA, that's another good one. People don't realize, man, Drake was a big advocate for the WNBA. Remember, he had this big, there was this big old crush that he had on Skylar Diggins Smith at one point. Well, she's Skylar Diggins now. And they had pictures of
Yeah, the ESPYs.
yeah, at the ESPY. He said, I'm digging you, I'm digging you. So yeah, he's no stranger to the WNBA, man. Shout out to Drake, man, who is pretty much overhated at this point. I know he lost the beef between him and Kendrick, but guys lose beefs all the damn time. Jay-Z lost to Nas, Kumo
50
D.
lost the game.
Yes, 50 lost the game. 300 bars was that deal, man. People go back and listen to 300 bars. 300 bars, that's that deal. I mean, Ja lost the 50. There's a lot of people who lost beefs, but you could come back from that. I will say it was good. It's not the Drake standard in everybody's eyes because, everybody expect for every album to be this ultimate classic. But I like it, to be honest with you, man. I don't have no problems with it. I like it, to be honest with you. It's a good album, pretty good album. And look, nice shot for coming back strong. People don't even realize what those three albums spell. Those albums spell him. So, Drake is definitely him. Like I stated, he's overhated right now because people want to give him all type of flack because he lost that beef. But hip hop beef happens all the time, man. And sometimes you're gonna win. In the case of Drake, because he put out one of the best diss songs of all time in the form of Back to Back. And then sometimes you're gonna lose. So, but it's quite ironic that people remember when you lose more than when you win. So that's that.
Well, I mean, that tells you all you need to know. But it's a really good one. The one I think you would stop by the next time you stop at the ATL, ran to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I like that one. Bees on the table. Janice, shut the fuck up. That's like my favorite one though. But the other one from one of the albums, Prioritizing. So I like that one. It was actually pretty good albums, man. But speaking of basketball, we gotta talk about the New York Knicks versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. New York is up 2-0 against Cleveland. Cleveland game one, it looked like they were about to beat the New York Knicks, but then Jalen Brunson helping the New York Knicks come back from a 22-point deficit, taking the game to overtime. They just took apart James Harden in that game. They took him apart. And then in game two, it was more competitive. It was a good competitive in the first half. Evan Mobley was starting off strong in the first half, but then couldn't do anything in the second half. Sam Merrill didn't shoot the ball particularly well. Neither did Max Strus. I'm afraid, champ, I hate to say this, it's more than likely it could be a sweep. And ever since that the New York Knicks were trailing 2-1 against your other team, the Atlanta Hawks, they have won now 7, I think 8, they won 2, they won 3, they won 4, they've won 9 consecutive games. 9 consecutive games since trailing 2-1. It looks like the New York team is coming out of the East. I mean, you look at Jalen Brunson, he is their savior. If he wins a championship, there could be a possibility of discussion. Could he be the greatest Knick to have ever played? Yes, even bigger than Patrick Ewing, Bernard King. I mean, there may be a possibility, even though they have more of a decorated career. But champ, there is a possibility because again, with social media, and I've told you before, you look at the fact, you look at this team, you look at everything with this team, and if Jalen Brunson can actually deliver a championship, New York Knicks fans are going to be ecstatic like they always are. And also, on a quick note, shout out to my good professor, Robert Gilbert out of Montclair State University. Definitely knows this thing. He always reminds me, if I go big in this world, make sure I always acknowledge him. Thank you for everything that you taught me during my time in Montclair State. And no, Mr. Gilbert, you're not going to try to convince me to wear a New England Patriots jersey, so that ain't happening. I love my Commanders too much, but Overall, when I look at this team, champ, the New York Knicks, they're just too loaded. And Josh Hart stepped up big in game two, had 26 points in that game. I just think in order for Cleveland to have any shot to win this series and turn it around, the next two games are at Cleveland tomorrow and on Monday night. So I don't know what's going to happen. James Harden is what he is. He is what he is. There's nothing else that you can say or ask about James Harden at this point. Um, I don't really expect much from him. I do really expect more from the role players: Sam Merrill, Max Strus, Tyson, Evan Mobley. You started off well in the first half, and in the second half, I don't know what happened. So it's sad to say, but it seems like the New York Knicks, they're running away. They're running away. And no, Mr. Gilbert, no, no. You lost.
Okay.
You blew a 3-1 lead against Philadelphia. No, not at this particular time.
Uh,
But big fella, what are your thoughts on the whole Cavs Knicks series?
oh man. I said this before, and in the great words of Jericho, I will say it again. Liability James Harden. Ah, nothing but a passenger on the boat during the playoffs. That's just being real. Nothing but a passenger on the boat in the playoffs. A mere passenger. I mean, it's crazy. But look, New York was hungry. They came into this season hungry. I mean, Mike, they questioned the New York organization about firing Coach Tibbs. They questioned them. But New York came in hungry, and they are showing that hunger for that championship. And you cannot do anything but admire that. I think it might be a sweep because the Cavaliers gave them their best shot in game one, and they took it and they fired back with an uppercut and knocked them out. Then game two came around. It was a rout. And funny thing about that, Jalen Brunson didn't even play good the first three quarters. That was the funniest thing about it. He didn't play well the first three quarters.
No, it took every bit of Josh Hart and Karl Anthony Towns and other players. You didn't need a great performance from Jalen Brunson.
No, indeed not. But yeah. So that was that. Uh, to talk about the greatest Nick ever. Look, you got to talk about those old school New York Knicks back in the '70s when you talk about the New York Knicks, man. I know we get so caught up in times and the time right about now, but I'm not gonna disregard guys
Bernard
like
King.
Walt Frazier, Mr. Bradley, Earl of Pearl Monroe, they call those guys the Rolls Royce backcourt for a reason. Willis Reed, guys like that. People don't realize it was called the Willis Reed game for a reason. So the fact that we're not just going to discard those guys and act like they didn't mean anything. They have a documentary out on them when the garden was eaten. And guess what? When you talk about guys who, exceeded social media during his time, Walt Frazier was him. We overuse that word a lot now, but Walt Frazier was him. He was a fashion icon. He was one of the first guys with signature shoes. He was one of the first guys with a signature shoe. Puma actually gave Walt Frazier his first signature shoe. I know everybody want to give that claim to fame to Bird and Magic and Jordan, but the first guy, one of the first guys with his own signature shoe was Walt Frazier, who
Well,
set
not
the
just
trend.
Walt Frazier, Patrick Ewing, them Ewings.
Yeah.
Remember Ice Cube when he did the song Steady Mobbing?
Yeah. I input on my white Ewing. So yeah,
Yes.
those was but yeah, but I gotta give it to Walt Frazier at this point. That's just my humble opinion because I had, Walt Frazier was kind of like, he fit the mold of the time. He fit the mold of, the guy who can relate to the everyday man. He could dress his ass off. He had that aura. He had that it factor about himself that he could flat out go out there and just ball. And the funniest thing about that, people always remember the Willis Reed game as the Willis Reed game, but people don't realize that Walt Frazier scored over 35 points against the late great Jerry West. So I have to pay homage to those guys. I know we want to keep up with the modern guys, but we got to pay homage to the Rolls Royce backcourt, that being Walt Frazier and Earl of Pearl Monroe. We got to be Phil Jackson was on that team. He was a defensive stopper on that team. when he was, out there doing acid and stuff like that, going to nightclubs and stuff like that. So you got to pay homage to the guys, man. I know we want to say, well, Jalen Brunson is the greatest ever. Let's not forget about Walt Frazier, Earl the Pearl, Willis Reed, and those guys like that, because those guys put it all on the line, and they were the reason the garden was eaten at a certain point. So let's pay homage to those guys too. Now, as far as somebody who brought something to New York that have not been seen in a while, I'll give it to Jalen Brunson. But the greatest of all time, greatest Nick of all time, got to go back to those 70 New York Knicks teams. I know everybody, shout out to my guy Trent, no disrespect to my guy Trent. We all know that Trent hate old people, but
Yeah, I guess you saw the 70s video that
shout out to Trent, man. Love Trent to life, man. But Trent, we know you hate old people. But I know we done with the 70s and stuff like that. It's all love, Trent. Shout out to Trent because he's doing a hell of a lot of big things in the sports world, man. One of the best journalists in the world, not to mention if you go back and I went back and look at Trent's film in basketball and football. He was that dude. So big shout out to Trent.
But he crazy as hell though with the old people though.
Yeah. Trent hate old people. So
that's why. And shout out to his older brother Trey for also holding him accountable.
Yeah.
But Chip, here's the reason why I think Brunson can be. First of all, do you remember what Becky Hammond said about guys like Jalen Brunson's size being? This could actually be a strong test. And again, especially in a game in an era where it's more really now catered to either the threes, the fours, and even the fives. Yes, I understand the old school caliber players, the Walt Fraziers, the Earl the Pearl Monroes, the Bernard Kings. You can't forget that. You can't forget Patrick Ewing, one of the best bigs, one of the greats to have never captured a championship. But Brunson has a chance to solidify it. For a guy who's from New Brunswick, New Jersey. And again, I mean, the Dallas Mavericks, not only they moved on from Luka, they moved on from Jalen Brunson. And for him to turn around this Knicks organization, mind you, with the owner, James Dolan, given the fact that he has been turning around the organization under Dolan's stewardship, that says a lot for something. And if they could actually win the championship, there may be a possibility that the Knicks could win. Am I saying I want them to win? No, absolutely not, because I can't stand Knicks fans. They're about as crazy as Cowboys and Eagles fans. But there's a possibility. No, they are.
Look.
No. I don't want to hear they having anything. They need a taste of humility. Because I'm sick and tired of New York Knicks fans acting like they've won something. Dallas Cowboys fans haven't won anything in 30 years. I mean, like, chill. Can we wait? Can we get to the dance first? And then when the dance is over, can we wait and see who's going to be the senior prom and queen? I mean, can we wait? Yes, I understand. They haven't been to a championship since 1999. I understand they haven't been to won a final since 1973, but damn, we got to wait and see. They losing it, which is why I hope either between them or San Antonio or Oklahoma City, they humble them. But I do think it's going to end in 6 or 7. Either way, champ, New York is still going to be the team to beat in the East. Because if you look at Boston, and we're going to talk about him later on, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, at this point, the Sixers, the process has already been done.
Yep.
Cleveland, they still got some more work to do. Indiana, we still got to wait and see how this team is going to evolve. How is Tyrese Halliburton going to come back? Atlanta still got to make some moves, even though they made it competitive against the Knicks early on in the playoffs. But when I look at the Knicks-Cavs team, Knicks are too experienced, collective of a team. Mike Brown has made adjustments. Kenny Atkinson, the one problem that I had in game 1, you could have called timeouts and made adjustments, but you chose not to. And you had James Harden guarding Jalen Brunson. Why? James Harden, at this point in his career, knowing that he's not known for defense, why would you put him to guard Jalen Brunson?
Slow as cold syrup in Alaska, ain't it?
I mean, he looked like a stationary target being guarded by Jalen Brunson.
It's crazy, but I mean, that's just how. I mean, I don't. You got to make those adjustments, and unfortunately, they are not. Oh, Ness, what's going on?
Love you,
How-
Nessa.
Shout out to Ness and Sports for You podcast, man. Sports for You wrestling. Monty Ice and Mr. Watson and all the crew over there, man. Best in the West. They got to make some adjustments. It's some soul searching time for those guys, and they got to make it right. They got to make it right. It's like it's got to be right at this point because if they don't, they're gonna find themselves in Cancun. So, but look, back to the Knicks fans, man. Look, New York. I'm gonna just be real. I got to be real with you. And like I said, I'm not an apologist for New York. Like I said, hey, I'm an Atlanta fan. But the thing is, I understand y'all have not had shit in a while when it comes to basketball. I understand. I get it. So of course, hey, it's kind of like Atlanta was when we finally went to the Super Bowl. All of us was just obnoxious as hell. That's like New England ended up coming back on us. That's just how it went. So I understand why they're rowdy. We ain't had nothing in a good while, bro. We ain't had nothing. It's been a lot of doom and gloom. We had to deal with this guy of an owner that really didn't know what he was doing and finally stepped out of the way and we was able to get some things done. So yeah, so I understand why the rowdiness of New York City, man. They're trying to get everything done, and they're excited about their team. When you're excited about your team, you're gonna be rowdy. So I totally get it, man. I get it, man. Like I said, I like I'm not a New York Knicks fan. I'm not an apologist for New York, but guess what? If y'all ain't, when you don't have anything it's kind of like eating a steak for the first time in months. I mean, the only thing you be eating is peanut butter jelly or ham sandwiches. When you get that first big bite of that damn steak, you're gonna cherish it. You're gonna be a little bit rowdy. So I really don't blame them for how they are right about now. Yeah, they being a little bit obnoxious and rowdy, but they ain't had it in a while. So I mean, they ain't had this kind of excitement around the team since John Starks and company. So yeah, I get it.
Well, they haven't. I mean, look, you got to go back. Larry Johnson hitting that game-winning shot against the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. The rivalry and stuff. But damn, y'all Knicks fans, y'all get on my damn nerves all the time. I'm sorry, Chan. Unless you're around New York City, New Jersey, they are annoyed. They are ruthless. They are acting insane. Go to New York City. Go to New York City. Go to the Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island, Long Island. Go to Queens. Anywhere in New York City. The New York Knicks fans are. I mean, I understand they're passionate. They haven't won anything since '73, but damn, I can't wait till y'all shut the bleep up.
Hey man, New York, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And look, shout out to New York, man. One of the places that I want to visit at one point, man. I talk a lot of shit because I'm from Georgia. I talk a lot of shit. Look, I talk a lot of shit because I'm from Georgia, man, because I'm gonna rep red and black everywhere I want, everywhere I go. But one place I do want to end up visiting is New York. And I'm not talking about the normal stuff. I want to visit, the Apollo and, go to a New York Knicks game when they play the Hawks and just
They got some good bars. They got some nice restaurants. Hell, a better way for you to be with them wags.
yeah, go to Smith, maybe go to Smith and Malinsky's a little bit. So, I mean, that's a good restaurant. We go to Smith and Malinsky's a little bit. So, I mean, I want to go to New York one day, man, and see, the birthplace of hip hop and where everything started at, man. Big ups to New York, man. Y'all bought a lot of out for the world to enjoy. Like I said, it man, be excited about it because once it's here one day, it's on the next, guys. It's here one day and it's gone the next. But big shout out to Jalen Brunson, man. Beating the odds, doing a lot of things with that city that we didn't think that was
Yeah,
possible.
absolutely.
Because remember Becky Hammond, great Becky Hammond, no disrespect to her. She came from the Greg Popovich coaching tree. She had some pretty strong words to say about, players up under a certain height, and he's proving them wrong. Proving them wrong. Mind you, Becky Hammond is a three-time champion, and he, came from the Greg Popovich coaching tree. So she was the first woman to ever
But
coach.
she wasn't lying. But she wasn't lying though, champ. Because not only that, to her point, she look, guys with a certain height like Steph and Isaiah, they're the outliers who've been the number one options and won championships. Historically, that hasn't been the case for guys like Jalen Brunson and size. Jalen Brunson could be the outlier, as well as Isaiah Thomas and also Steph Curry. So it's exciting to see. But it's not just Jalen Brunson. Also, you have to give credit to Mikal Bridges for stepping up and playing well lately. Because at one point in time, he was into a funk. Remember, they had to give up 4 unprotected first-round picks in order to acquire him. They also pulled off the cat trade. So they also got OG Anunoby. Leon Rose has done a phenomenal job assembling this roster. All he had to do, James Dolan had to do, was to stay out the way. That's really about it at this particular point. But when I look at the New York Knicks, when I look at what they have so far, this team is not going anywhere. They're still, I believe, they're going to be the team to come out of the East. Because Boston, I look at Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, it's going to be hard for them to come back from a 3-1 deficit. And not only that, last year, when you faced the Knicks, before Jason Tatum went out with the Achilles injury, you had a chance to win both games 1 and 2 in New York, and somehow, some way, New York Knicks just find a way to win. They just find a way to win and make the most out of it. That's the beauty in what they do. Sorry, Undisputed World Champ is having some technical difficulties. We'll have him back momentarily. But when I look at the New York Knicks, there's nothing more that you can ask from this team. There's nothing more that you can ask from Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. We know what he can do as far as his ability, stretching the floor, hitting perimeter shots. We know what Mikal Bridges gives as far as with defense, moving the ball, the mid-range game. OG Anunoby, he seems healthy. He had enough time. With the hamstring injury. So we'll see how it goes for the New York Knicks. As for the Cleveland Cavaliers, look, they did came back 2-0 against the Detroit Pistons. They won games 3. They won games 4. But I think for them, in order for them to get back and win this whole thing, James Harden is going to have to play better. He's going to have to step up. Other guys, as I mentioned, Max Strus, Sam Merrill, have to step up. Evan Mobley cannot have another performance in the second half like he had last night. You're just going to need more. And when the team is starting to unravel, when they're starting to lose momentum, Kenny Atkinson, it's incumbent upon you to call timeouts. That's what you're going to have to do. But shout out to the New York Knicks. It looks like to me they're going to win this series, and they're going to be the team in the East for the years to come. Now let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Of course, there's the game going on, Game 3 at San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama, we'll get into Game 2 in just a second, but Victor Wembanyama in Game 1 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The night in which the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver presented Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the MVP for the second consecutive time, and rightfully so. Watching Victor Wembanyama perform against the Oklahoma City Thunder, it was reminiscent to Hakeem Olajuwon when he saw David Robinson's MVP speech and that performance he gave in the Western Conference Finals against the San Antonio Spurs. Watching Wembanyama against the Oklahoma City Thunder, it was kind of like a mixture of Olajuwon, Duncan, Shaq, and a little dazzle against Steph Curry. I'll say it again. His performance, 41 points, 24 rebounds, 3 blocks. It was a combination of Akeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, and a dazzle of Steph Curry. And why I say a dazzle of Steph Curry, for instance, that three that he hit to put the game to double overtime. What big man do you know at that size with that type of shooting range? It's unbelievable to what Victor Wembanyama did in that game. I mean, his defense, what he can do as far as with the perimeter, as far as with the paint. That was another reason why Oklahoma City struggled in game one. They couldn't find a way to attack the basket when Wembanyama was in the paint. Oklahoma City, if there was one reason they had a chance to win that game in game one, just like they did in game two, was the amount of turnovers. Stephon Castle, exciting young guard, but I think within the past 2 games in the playoffs, he's given up 20 turnovers in the Western Conference Finals. 20 turnovers. He gave up 11 in game one, and then Wednesday night, he gave up 9. 20 in 2 games, 20 turnovers. 10 turnovers per game. He's got to cut down on the turnovers. When I look, but Wembanyama, just the freak that he is at 7'3", 7'4", he's probably around like 230, 240. But with his athletic ability, his length, the way he was a beast in the paint, Chet Holmgren was no match for him. And Victor Wembanyama was like, man, please, Chet Holmgren, get the fuck out of my way. You're not in my league. And what they did to SGA in game one, SGA struggled shooting from the mid-range, the elbow mid-range shots that he normally takes, struggled in game one, but he definitely responded in game two. Game two, it was a much better game for Oklahoma City. Once again, like I mentioned, with Stephon Castle, turnovers. He had 9 last Wednesday night against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played much better, had a more efficient game. Also, another thing, they had to get Chet going. Chet had to get going for the Oklahoma City Thunder because in order for them to win, it can't just be about SGA. It also has to be about Chet as well, too. The concern I have with Oklahoma City Thunder is now with Jalen Williams. Prior to the Western Conference Finals, he had to sit out for a while because of the hamstring injury. And because of the hamstring injury, he is ruled out for game 3. So there's issues with the guard play, but look, one X factor for Oklahoma City Thunder, Alex Caruso. He had a great game in game 1, gave you around 30, 31 points. And also in game 2, gave you some score. But what he does best, and something that the big fella misses in Los Angeles, defense. He provides such a spark coming off the bench, disrupting, making it difficult for offensive players, guarding some of the best offensive players, being a pest, doing whatever he can. Alex Caruso, of course, we can't ignore the championships he's won with the Los Angeles Lakers, the Oklahoma City Thunder. You look at Wallace coming off the bench, hitting some perimeter shots. I mean, it's going to be a very competitive and tough series. I do have Oklahoma City winning this series in 7. Because the past 2 games, like I mentioned, with Stephon Castle with the turnovers, they have to do it without De'Aaron Fox because of the ankle injury. And look, De'Aaron Fox, this is his first time in the Western Conference Finals. With him on the court, he gives them a better option. And by the way, shout out to Dylan Harper. He's actually been playing solid so far. He was coming off the bench, first time starting. He's actually looked pretty solid. I think if San Antonio wants any chance of winning this series, they just have to cut down and limit on the turnovers. They have to cut down and limit on the turnovers. And they're just going to have to figure out a way to make adjustments to make it difficult for SGA. And they have to contain Chet just like they did in game one. And with Wemby, I think the thing that Reggie Miller said it the best, when they're daring Wemby to hit perimeter shots as opposed to not being in the paint as much, that's what's going to help OKC. Because Wemby has the capability of getting his putbacks. Because after all, he is 7'3", 7'4". Anytime if he misses a shot, whether from the mid range or 5 feet in, he's going to put it back because of his freakish arms. I don't know how long his wingspan is. He's what, 7'3", 7'4" in terms of height. So it has to be huge, much longer than that. I think for hold on, see if we can get the big fella back up. You good, big fella?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Everyone can hear you.
Yes.
But big fella, we just moving on. We just discussing the San Antonio Spurs versus Oklahoma City Thunder. What I basically said was, man, Victor Wembanyama in game one, it was like a masterpiece performance. 41 points, 24 rebounds, 3 blocks. It was a combination of Akeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, and a dazzle of Steph Curry. Because that 3 he hit to put it to double overtime. What do you know, a big man, 7'3", 7'4", with that type of length, hitting a shot of that type of range? Normally, you don't see a guy that big shooting that type of shot. I think, Champ, it was all Wemby in game one. I think for the San Antonio Spurs, their biggest problem is the turnovers, Champ. Stephon Castle, the past 2 games, he's committed 20 turnovers.
I thought it was
20. 11 in game one, 9 in game two. That's 10 turnovers per game. Now, obviously, they've been struggling because, again, no De'Aaron Fox. But Calvin Johnson coming off the bench, he's done what he could. Dylan Harper, to his credit, has also stepped up. And by the way, he couldn't finish the rest of the game due to injury. And then Jalen Williams, J-Dub, from the Oklahoma City Thunder, he's ruled out, I believe, for game 3 because of the hamstring injury, and understandably so. But look, game 1, they made it difficult. They made it difficult for SGA. And remember, Champ, watching Victor Wembanyama perform in game 1, it was reminiscent to Hakeem Olajuwon in the 95 Western Conference Finals. Remember when David Robinson received the MVP and gave his speech? That's exactly what Victor Wembanyama did in game 1. He just annihilated Chet Holmgren. He just looked at Chet Holmgren like barbecue chicken, as Shaquille O'Neal always put it. I think, Champ, I still have the Thunder winning this series because they're still the more experienced team. But San Antonio still has a shot, but they got to cut down on the turnovers. That's what's killing them. And another reason why Oklahoma City has a chance to win is not just because of SGA. It's not just because of Chet or J-Dub. Alex Caruso.
Yes.
He has been the X factor because he stepped up in game 1, coming off the bench, giving you 30 points, and being such a pest on defense, making it difficult. If there was any chance, any time he had any chance going up against Wembanyama, smacking the ball right out of his hands. And the other thing they have to do is keep Wembanyama off the paint.
Yes.
Because when he's in the paint, obviously because of his size, he's going to contest a lot of shots. And furthermore, when he's on the offense, he's going to give you some putbacks. So, and also, too, you're going to have to make him stand around in the perimeter, make it much difficult for the other players around the Spurs to score. So when I look at this series, it's a very competitive series. I actually love watching this series more than the Cavs-Knicks series because it seems to me that the Knicks are just going to run away with the Cavs. But this is the type of matchup I want to see. But what are your thoughts?
They did a nice job of containing Victor.
in game two
Game
compared
two.
to game one.
Compared to game one, they get a nice job containing him. It's just like you're not gonna stop him. Let's just be clear. But you can't contain him, and they did a hell of a job doing that. So, hey, check Holmgren. He has to play a lot better against Victor V1 Victor.
And
So
another thing too, he had to get it going on offense because that was something that he couldn't do in game one.
exactly. So Victor, he reminds me of a mixture of Ralph Sampson and Akeem Olajuwon. Because he's a little bit bigger than Akeem Olajuwon. He can shoot just like him, and the defense is there, and he's a presence in the middle as well. So it's a combination of the old school Twin Towers. So
I would lean
I
towards
like
more
what I'm seeing.
Porzingis.
Huh?
Porzingis.
Yeah, him too. Yeah, a big mixture. I mean, the modern day guys that just use their height, their width, their defense, and everything for the greater good. They remember what they used to call Houston back when they had
The Twin
Akeem Olajuwon.
Towers.
Yeah, and then when they had the second iteration of
Fly
them,
Slamma Jamma. Yeah, I remember all that.
yeah, small ball with a big problem in the middle. So because they revolutionized small ball in Clutch City, so it's a combination. Like I said, it's a combination of Ralph Sampson, Akeem Olajuwon, and Porzingis as well. So hell of a combination. If you really want me to be honest with you, man, he's unstoppable. Like I stated, what is that video game? NBA Street. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him, and they did a good job of containing him in the second game. First game, not so much. Second game, yeah, they contained him as much as they could. So.
What do you also think about with the Spurs? I mean, I mentioned Stephon Castle with the turnovers. He did have that crazy dunk though on Hartenstein, but if you looked at the last two games, champ, he had 11. He had like so many turnovers in that game. 11 turnovers, 9. I'm gonna say it again. In 2 games, Stephon Castle has given up 20 turnovers in 2 games, which is an average of 10. So you can't win that way when he's committing that many turnovers. And I also think it hurts San Antonio, champ, without De'Aaron Fox.
It majorly hurts them without De'Aaron Fox because they don't have that other X factor in the game. He has to get the turnovers under control, man. And I know who's going to help them coming back to San Antonio with those turnovers. And they have an X factor. He's not even on the court. You know who that is?
Who's that?
Greg Popovich.
Yes, of course.
They're gonna get with him about some game planning, and guess what? They're gonna take them 2 games in San Antonio, but they got to cut out on them turnovers, man. They got to, and plus you got to look. I know we always say youth is not an excuse for mistakes, but this is a very young team. The average age of this team is like 21 years old, isn't it? So yeah, it's a very very young team, man. So mistakes are prone, and the mistakes are gonna happen. The key is overcoming those mistakes. The first 2 games, got to cut back on them turnovers, man. Like I stated.
I'm going to fill up right now as far as with the age track. They're like one of the youngest rosters in the NBA. Dylan Brooks is what, 19, 20 years old? Wemby's like what? 20?
Old, yeah.
Wemby's about 22. Stephon Castle. It says it right here. The youngest starting 5 in conference finals history. Stephon Castle, 21. Dylan Harper, 20 years old. Julian Champagnie, 24. Devin Vassell, 25. Victor Wembanyama, 22.
Yeah. They're modern day. Remember how young OKC was, and they had the memes about the pizza. They had the memes about the pizza rolls. Going in the thing. Yeah, you remember the OKC, the pizza rolls memes, and they used to make fun of them because of how young and energetic they was. Bob made pizza rolls. So yeah, they're a very very young team, and when you're young, you're gonna make a hell of a lot of mistakes. I mean, the Shaq team, that was a very very young team. So
it was.
You're gonna
with him and with Penny and Dennis Scott and them. Yeah, I remember them days.
You're gonna get a lot of mistakes when you're that young, and you haven't been there before. The key is overcoming those mistakes. First 2 games, kind of nervous, got to get the jitters out and everything like that. But come game 3, all right, now you're at home. Home field advantage. Time to get to it.
Who do you have winning the series?
I hate to say this.
San Antonio?
Go, Spurs, go. That is the first and the very last time you will ever hear me say that shit. The first and the very last time you will ever hear me say that. Go Spurs, go. I mean, it's only some. It's only. I think that is going to. I think that, like I said, I think you said this in the TikTok. This has very much 99 vibes to it, and I think it's going to end up being New York and San Antonio.
The rematch of the '99 finals.
Yes, indeed.
I think it's going to be a lot. I think that series between this Knicks and Spurs team, if that happens, will be a lot closer compared to the '99 one between the Knicks and Spurs. Um, because remember, the Spurs, they lost to the Knicks in the regular season. They
Yeah.
lost remember, keep in mind the Knicks beat them down at the Garden, and let's not forget when they won the cup. So we have to take that into consideration. But at the same time, it's the playoffs, a lot of times, a lot of adjustments, things of that nature. I would have to lean on the Knicks to win that series, only because of the experience factor. Anything could happen, but again, the youth, when you have that young of a roster, and plus with Stephon Castle with the mistakes, now again, to your point, the great Greg Popovich will help them out. So we'll see what happens, man. But I think this is going to be a great series. I have OKC winning the series in 7. I think it's going to be a very competitive series because again, the young players, they're going to make some mistakes. Alex Caruso coming in, being the X factor, I think that also is a big plus for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Plus, the good thing is with them, Jared McCain, and even if the Thunder they don't win the championship, they still got them 2 first-round picks.
Bro, you talk about somebody just robbing and stealing. That is amazing. Oh man. Hey, you got to rob and steal to survive in the Trump era. So
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. In the words,
you try. I mean, they played with completely within the rules, but I mean, hey, you got to rob and steal. You got to rob and steal and wheel and deal in the Trump era. So
well, I mean, didn't he steal like what 1.7 billion,
I
1.8
said
billion?
you got to rob and steal in the Trump era. Let's not break up the transgression. So,
Well, I mean, did I lie? Did I lie?
you didn't lie.
Did I lie?
Damn. Next time I need some money, I just need to go storm the Capitol.
Shout out to answering the call, man. Appreciate you, fella. Unfortunately, champ, speaking of another guy who just can't stay out of trouble, Rasheed Rice. He was ordered to serve 30 days in jail due to a probation violation. He was tested positive for marijuana. Can't get right. For those who may not know, the character from the movie Life, the great movie, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, the rest of the soul, Bernie Mac, Anthony Anderson, all the other comedians, he's just can't get right. And unfortunately, he's going to miss OTAs. And look, man, he just talked about how he wanted a contract, a big contract. How's it going to look right now that you're behind bars? Let's not forget the lawsuit that your ex-girlfriend accused you, ex-girlfriend or fiance accused you of. It seems like no matter what, man, you can't keep your act together. And again, the reason why the probation violation is going back to that speed chase back in 2024. Champ, I hate to say this. Oh, God, BRF. What is wrong with BRF?
BRF, bro. Come on, bro.
Oh my God. But in all seriousness, champ, regarding Rasheed Rice, I'm sorry if I'm Kansas City, and even though they have issues with the wide receivers, I have to cut him. Because anytime when I think of him, I'm not even thinking about him as a football player anymore. I'm thinking about him getting into more trouble. He just can't seem to stay out of his way. And in a Kansas City Chiefs organization, not just with Patrick Mahomes, not just with Travis Kelce, but Andy Reid, who is known for giving people second, third, or how many amount of chances. If you can't seem to get your act together here, then I'm sorry. It's time for you to be gone. I think the only way for Rasheed Rice to get his act together is that he has to hit rock bottom. Because to me, he's more trouble than he's worth, champ. I mean, you just talked about how you wanted a contract extension. Yes, you wanted to talk about having the contract extension. You wanted to talk about being paid like one of the top elite receivers in the game, which clearly you're not. And you still putting your hands in and still keep putting your hand in the fire pan. I mean, shit. I mean, he getting in more trouble just like the MAGA people out in the damn streets. That's how it is for Rasheed Rice at this point. I mean, I can't trust him to stay out of trouble. If I'm Kansas City, I personally have to cut him. I have to cut him. I have to say, look, man, we've done everything we could to help you out, but it seems to us you can't seem to get your act together. Therefore, we have to part ways. Big fella, what are your thoughts?
Right now, number one, Rasheed Rice, you dropped in the draft because of character issues. That's how come you dropped in the draft. That's number one. That's number one. And so you came into this league with a black eye on your face because of that. You already came into this league with a black eye on your face because of that. You would think losing that and realizing that, okay, now I got to make up for the money that I lost because I was acting a fool. I had to make up for the money that I lost because I was acting a fool in the first place. You only been in the league 3 damn years. 3 years. 3. And only one of those years have you been fully healthy. Last 2 years, you have not been healthy. You only played 4 games the year before last, and you only played 8 games this past year. So that's already a strike against that ass already. Then you had the off-the-field issues going on. You got into trouble your first year on the damn job. You went on the job 15 damn minutes, and you was already wrecking your car. Then let's go to the off-the-field issue with the camera guy. You in the club with the camera guy, and word has it that you struck him. Then you had the incident with your girlfriend. Now you're on probation, and you out here puffing that magic dragon. What the hell is wrong with you? Now, granted, that's not the most egregious thing that you can do as far as that, to each his own. As far as, doing what you do, as far as, the substances are concerned, to each is its own. But when you got, number one, your freedom on the line, that's number one. Your freedom is on the damn line. To hell with football. You tell me to stop drinking orange juice, I'm going to damn jail. I'm throwing out the orange juice the next day. That's just being real. So number one, you're jeopardizing your freedom. Then you jeopardizing that bag. How the hell number one, when you're in trouble and unavailable, yeah, that's 2 strikes against you. And eventually they're going to get you the hell up out of there. If I'm Kansas City, I'm seeing what the trade market is for him right now. Even if I have to give up, even if I have to say, look, I get rid of him for a second round, for a third, maybe 4th, 5th round pick. Guess what? You got to get your ass out of here.
Probably 4th or 5th. You probably won't get a second round.
I don't care. It could be yesterday's lunch at Chipotle. You got to get your ass up out of here. I can't rely on you to stay out of trouble. I can't rely on you to stay healthy. And you got the nerve to ask me for $40 million? You better hate your damn self. $40 million. You haven't been healthy. You stay in trouble. And like NWA, you always into something. How the hell am I going to trust you with $40 million? I can't even trust you with the rookie contract that you just got. And you drop. The thing is, when guys drop in the draft because of character issues, they stay out of trouble. You rarely hear about them. Hardly ever. When you drop in that draft, you cannot mess up one time. You can't mess up like that. You got to be on alert. Because guess what? One slip, you might not get a second contract. Nobody's going to give you no money like that, and you are fucking up like this. Let's just be real. You fucking up. And when you're fucking up like that, guess what? There's no money for you. Because you're not just, a player on this team. You're an investment. And we finna get ready to move into a new stadium in a couple years.
They're going to move to Kansas, I believe, in 2030, 2031.
Yeah, we're about to move to. So how am I supposed to trust you with this type of money? How am I supposed to trust you with the notoriety? If you got a guy who's doing a bunch of bad things off the field, is an abusive type of guy, and a guy that can't stay out of trouble, how is giving him a bunch of money and a bunch of fame all at one time going to help that? It can't.
It doesn't. Money doesn't change you. It makes you more than what you already are. If he's having these problems long before the money, eventually what he's going to be when he has it, he's becoming a bigger dumbass than he already is. And the thing is, Champ, look, as far as the weed stuff, look, I have no problem with people smoking weed. Neither do you, Champ, or anyone else. But the fact of the matter is, you're on probation. It's a violation of your probation, and you do it regardless.
You are an idiot. Number one, I'm not going to do shit.
No, Champ. Idiot is an understatement. Dumbass or whatever type of word you can name or think of. Idiot is an understatement.
Because and he's lucky being an idiot doesn't carry a long sentence. Otherwise, he'd probably be sentenced to life right about now. But that's another story for another day. Number one, I'm not going to do nothing to jeopardize my freedom, number one. Number two, I already dropped in the draft because of character issue. When you come in and you are a second-round pick on down, you can't mess up not one time. And to Andy Reid's credit, he's giving them chance after chance after chance after chance. You're not available. You're often injured. And now you just can't stay out of trouble. I got to get rid of you. You're fired. I mean, I'm just going to be and people can say, well, no, ain't no well, There's no well, You can't stay out of trouble. You're healthy. You only had one productive year. One. And that was your rookie year where you haven't even eclipsed 1,000 yards yet.
The year when you want
JSN money? Your best year was your rookie year, 926 yards. And you're talking about you want JSN money. Hell motherfucking no. I don't know what kind of freebase you've been putting in that Magic Dragon, but you must be doing it if you think I'm finna sit around here and give you $40 million and you can't stay out of trouble, you can't stay healthy, and you only have one productive season and you want $14 million? No, sir. I don't know who woke you up. I don't know who woke you up in a coma and told you it was 1998, but we don't do that around here. No, $40 million. You're not healthy. I'm going to repeat this one more time. You fell in the draft. You had one productive season where you went almost 1,000 yards, not even 1,000 yards. You're not healthy at this point. You've only played 12 games the past 2 seasons, and you can't stay out of trouble. You got into so much trouble that Royce West had to defend you. If you don't know who Royce West is, that is the same guy who was a senator at one point in his illustrious career in politics, who helped defend the Carter Five. If you don't know who the Carter Five was, those was the guys at the most famous football teams that was ever produced by Dallas, Texas, who got caught up in armed robberies while they were in high school. He had to defend those guys. And he had to come and defend you. It took a person with that much clout in order to get you out of something in Dallas, Texas. And now all that hard work that he did, all the hard work that the franchises did, because this is just the stuff that we know about. Best believe where there's smoke, there's a hell of a lot more fire. And the way it's going on at this point in time, in the great words of Paul Bearer, you are a towering inferno. So no, 40 million, shit. You'd be lucky if you get 5 out of me.
2 million at best.
And you finna miss minicamp too. We coming off our first losing season in years. And you talking about you want 40 million? Please. you must have been partying with Escobar because you ain't getting it from me.
Couldn't have said it any better, man. I just think it's time for Kansas City. I think they should just cut him, champ.
I mean, it's going to be I mean, the thing is, you're not going to have to do much because he's on the 4th year of that contract right now, and this is probably his last year. So guess what? I'm not finna cut him. I'm gonna see what you're gonna do this year. But rest assured.
No, champ. I gotta cut him because enough's enough. We've tolerated your bullshit all enough, and you somehow, some way, you can't just seem to get out of your own way. What do I got to do in order to get your attention to realize what? I got to give you an ultimatum. Either you screw up one more time or we fucking done. I mean, we already dealt with you with the car crash. The accusations of DV. You having the temerity to demand $40 million. And you're now ordered to serve 30 days in jail due to a probation violation. Why the hell should I keep you other than the fact that I need help with the receivers? And if Kansas City, you should have drafted a wide receiver. Doesn't have to be someone in the first round or the second round, but you should have drafted a wide receiver because this dude can't stay out of trouble. Plus, you moved on from Marquise Hollywood Brown. Xavier Worthy also has some injuries. Travis Kelce is getting up there in age.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, you can't just rely on schemes and schematics. Of course, everyone knows how brilliant Andy Reid is when it comes to offense, X's and O's, things of that nature. But you need talent. And this dude doesn't even have a snowball's chance. As Stephen A. Smith always says, this dude, man, can't seem to stay out of damn trouble. Therefore, If I'm Kansas City, why would I keep him? Other than the fact I need help with my other wide receivers and for my quarterback. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut him, champ. Because no matter what, he just can't stay out of trouble. He just can't stay out of trouble. No matter what's going on with this dude, he just can't stay out of trouble. And unfortunately, another dude who I know I'm digressing, your dude from the Philadelphia Eagles, who's a former Georgia Bulldog. Bulldogs seem to can't stay out of trouble.
Can't stay out of the vehicles. I mean, the thing is, bro, it's kind of like it's weird at this point because the thing is, man, I tell people, man, don't jeopardize your freedom, don't jeopardize that bag. And it seems like every time you look around, one of these guys is jeopardizing one of the two. And it's weird at this point. It's like, come on, man. And for Nolan Smith, he just got a bag. So he just got a bag. So it's just like, bro, enough's enough, man. It's just like the great words of Benny Siegel, get down or lay down. So it's like it's weird at this point because it's like you're asking for 40 mil, yet you can't stay out of trouble. You already haven't been healthy. You only had one good season.
Which is your rookie year. And since that time, it hasn't been replicated. Champ, I'm sorry. I mean, enough, man. Enough with this dude. Why the hell should I keep you on the team knowing you can't stay out of trouble and you demanding $40 million per year? Acting as if you want Jackson Smith the Jibba money, Justin Jefferson money. Sucker born every second, huh? But I hope he learns from this sentence. And hopefully this will be a path for him to improve. I'm not saying it's going to happen, champ. We hope. Now, you do agree with me with hope. We do hope. We wish everyone well. We do wish everyone the best, man. But fellas and women too, stop fucking jeopardizing your bag. Not just your bag, but also, in the case of Rasheed Rice, your freedom.
Yeah. I mean, look, at this point, look, man, you can have all the money in the world, but lose your freedom. I mean, what good is it do to you? It's weird at this point. It's like, come on now. It's like, bro, that's enough. Enough's enough. And I don't blame you for your assessment of cutting him. But the thing is, you gonna finish out the rest of the contract because I ain't gonna pay you I'm not finna risk having to pay you a damn thing. That's why I said to them finish it out. Because I'm not finna risk having to pay you any damn thing. I don't want to pay you a dime when you get through.
Champ,
That's
the reason why I say cut him, not because of his game or anything, I'm just afraid something's going to happen. And he's going to go to jail or something else. And if I'm Kansas City, I'm asking myself, what do I do? Because we've had incidents with him in the past, and he hasn't learned from that. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me he gets involved in another situation. And if I'm Kansas City, how much? When is it enough?
yeah. And the thing is, the biggest if you can learn anybody, if you can learn from anybody on the team how to conduct yourself after you fell in the draft and you just are able to become an icon in the city. The only person you have to learn from is Travis Kelce. Remember, he got in trouble for marijuana. His college, he came out, did the right thing. Guess what? Got contract after contract after contract. He got his podcast. That's how you conduct yourself when you know you done fucked up. You don't come out here with this ass attitude like you just, I got it all now. No, you have to conduct yourself in a certain manner. It's crazy.
It's crazy. But I think another mentor he should really talk to, Champ, is Chris Carter. I think Chris Carter could definitely be a great mentor because we know Chris Carter had off the field issues as far as with substance abuse and things of that nature and alcohol, but he's turned it around. The dude needs some guidance. He needs some mentorship. He needs guidance, and he definitely needs some counseling or something, man. But damn, man, just can't get right. He just can't get right because there's always something with this dude. But it's really unfortunate, and hopefully he learns from this lesson. Hopefully he moves on and tries to resurrect his career. But it seems to me, Champ, he's almost on his way up out of here in Kansas City, and Kansas City is probably just done with him at this point. But speaking of football, I came up with an interesting topic. Last week we did a topic: which quarterback had the most to prove between Kyler Murray and C.J. Stroud. This one, who is the person, which coach you can trust? Robert Saleh of the Tennessee Titans or Kevin Stefanski with the Atlanta Falcons? I will say Kevin Stefanski, only because of the talent. Now, we've seen Kevin Stefanski do more with less, because after all, the year when he won the Coach of the Year in 2023, remember, he had to call Joe Flacco out of his bed, out of his couch, just in order for him to win some games. I think with Kevin Stefanski, with this offense, they're loaded. Bijan Robinson, unfortunately, Champ, you don't have Tyler Algier anymore, but still, we know it's going to be Bijan. He has a top 10 receiver in Drake London. Kyle Pitts is coming off an impressive year. The offensive line has looked good. And Atlanta has a good enough defense. Now, again, hopefully James Pierce Jr. doesn't get himself involved in any more situations. Thank God. I mean, he's lucky. What you told us with that situation, he's lucky that Rakia Jackson is willing to move on from that situation. Him and Walker, Jalen Walker. Because remember, the only thing we disagree with BRF, I don't agree with selecting Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick. At the time, you wanted Dallas Turner. But to BRF's credit, he made the point, hey, we got something going with James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker. And we saw what they've done so far. Then I look at it from the standpoint, you got the Terrell brothers, the corners. Everything is loaded in Atlanta. But the issue is with the quarterback situation between Michael Penix Jr. and Tua Tagovailoa. The problem with them is obviously durabilities. I mean, what'd you say? Them two hospitals they're probably going to end up playing or being at in Atlanta?
Whoever is the starting quarterback is the one that don't end up in Greater Memorial or Piedmont. So whoever don't end up in Piedmont or Greater Memorial, that's who gonna end up in there.
But I think with Kevin Stefanski, I think you look at the fact that they brought into it. It seemed to be the only reason why he brought into it because it seems like he's a fit for the offense because you had Dylan Gabriel with the Cleveland Browns. That's one of the reasons why you decided to go with Tua as opposed to Kyler Murray, as well as Matt Ryan as well. Shout out to Matt Ryan. The problem is the offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees. I think that's his name, right? The offensive coordinator.
Yes, indeed.
Kevin Stefanski has to call the plays. Because remember, Champ, you told me that Tommy Rees was the one who was calling the plays. With Kevin Stefanski, with this type of offense, he should be the one calling the plays. But when I look at Robert Saleh, I think he'll be fine in Nashville. Because first of all, I would know because I'm in Jersey. You don't have to deal with the New York fans, the New York press, the media. You're in a small market in Nashville. You have a lot of good things to look forward to. They've done their part with the offseason. They saved up a ton of money in cap space. They drafted Carnell Tate with the 4th overall pick. I thought, given the fact Robert Saleh, defensive mind, they would go in the direction of defense. But they seem to have a lot of faith in Cam Ward, and Cam Ward is looking very impressive in the offseason. Him and Carnell Tate. Cam Ward has actually dropped some weight, and I think it's also going to look good. And believe it or not, Champ, sooner or later, we keep talking about C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence. Don't be surprised Cam Ward takes that crown of best quarterback in that division because he showed you some flashes of what he can be. I just think he needed more talent around him. And to add a guy like Carnell Tate from the Ohio State University, wide receiver U, Jeffrey Simmons, one of the best defensive tackle in the NFL at this point. So there are a lot of good things to look forward to with Tennessee. Do I have them winning the division? No, because I still believe Houston's the better team defensively. It all comes down to the offensive line and especially C.J. Stroud. Then Jacksonville, I'm not sure. And plus, you and I, Champ, we're not sold on Trevor Lawrence. But I think the coach who I trust the most is Kevin Stefanski, not necessarily because of him, because of the talent he has around him. Because last year, with the excuses was with Cleveland, they don't have that much help. They're doing their part just to tank. Now, he also has to prove, and unfortunately, Champ, Kevin Stefanski, in my opinion, he did bring it on himself with Shedeur Sanders. Not saying that he wanted Shedeur Sanders to fail, but there were moments at times I felt like he took away an opportunity from Shedeur. Of course, the game against Tennessee, him yanking Shedeur out of that 2-point conversion. I thought that was a problem considering how well Shedeur played in that game. The San Francisco-Cleveland game. Why are you deciding to go for it on 4th down when it's like a 9-7, 12-7 game? Your defense was playing well at that point. So those were some of the issues that I have with Kevin Stefanski. But outside of the quarterback situation, I think he'll be fine. But it's not going to be easy for Atlanta because, sorry, Champ, Carolina has gotten better in the offseason. Bryce Young also coming off a solid season, actually a solid playoff game. I thought Bryce Young actually played good enough in that game against the Los Angeles Rams. They added Jalen Phillips to the mix. And, of course, I'm sorry, them Aints. Have they not taken a step up in the offseason? Yes, they have. So when I look at it, I still say Kevin Stefanski, I trust more than Robert Saleh at this point, only because of the talent he has around him. And I think with the NFC South, it's going to be a tough division. And when I look at Tennessee with Robert Saleh, even though he doesn't have to deal with the press and the media like he did in New York, and he has a young quarterback to look forward to, the young quarterback wide receiver duo of Ward and Tate. But still, Tennessee is still not there. They still got some work to do. So I'm gonna go with Stefanski. What says you?
Kevin. If you don't succeed now, you just saw it. If you don't succeed now, you just saw it. Because not only do you have Bijan Robinson, you got Brian Robinson back there. You got the Robinson brothers back there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you got the Robinson brothers back there.
I'm also concerned with Brian Robinson again because of durability. But either way, to get Brian Robinson after moving on from Tyler Algier,
thank you. And then you got the short yardage specialist from where? The University of Georgia. You got Dan Cash coming in too. So you got guys who can get you short yardage situation. You can never replace a Tyler Algier in those situations. But, you got some guys, you got some ones that can get you there. Just drafted Zachariah Branch. You just drafted A.J. Terrell's brother. There's been no indication on the NFL thus far to I will say to my better judgment, because I really think they should have came out by now and said something about a suspension when it came to James Pierce for what happened to Rickea Jackson. I think they should have came out, but there has been no indication of a suspension at this moment. I know it's
which is astonishing.
Which is, like I said, I know it's May right now, but
soon to be June.
For there not to be any indication of it. And then we got Coach's cousin on the team. Shout out to Coach, making all that good music for the people.
Yes,
Jalen Walker. So we got a lot of great pieces on this team. If you don't succeed now, then we brought back Jeff Ulbrich. We brought him back. So guess what? You have every opportunity to succeed. Robert Saleh, I would say this. He has an opportunity to succeed, but we know that this is a multi-year deal. This is not going to happen. We're not expecting Robert Saleh to come in and just say, hey, we're going to win 10 games to go to the playoffs. No. This is going to be a slow. This is going to be a slow build. Now, the coach that I'm going to trust the most is Kevin Stefanski, but he's also putting the most pressure.
He is, because there's not much you expect from Tennessee at this point to win. But I trust him because of the talent he has around him compared to what he had in Cleveland last year. And in fairness to him, Champ, one of the reasons why he won Coach of the Year in 2023, that Browns roster was decimated with injuries.
It was decimated. And, great defense and able to play game management, kind of played Marty ball during that time, was the reason him and his team was able to overcome. So, hey, I got to give credit where credit is due. But I trust Kevin Stefanski in order to get the job done, at least make the playoffs, because he has the tools right now. Now, 3 years from now, we may be singing another tune. But for in the moment, the person who has the perfect opportunity to succeed right now, because the NFC South is so up in the air right now. Yes, teams have gotten better, but on paper, the talent belongs to Atlanta. On paper, I will intimately implement on paper. So you have an opportunity in order to do a lot of great things with this, Rob. You have an MVP caliber back. The only thing that you need to solve is the quarterback situation at this point, and you need to decide who's going to play. So, I got to trust Robert. I got to trust Kevin Stefanski at this point. I think Robert Saleh can do some things, but I think this is going to be a slow build. And with Tennessee, I don't see them out competing with the Houston Texans at this point. And I sure as hell don't see them out competing the Jacksonville Jaguars, although they had arguably the worst offseason that you could possibly have. So I don't see them compete with those two teams, at least for right now. Could they be a shocking team or in the wild card team or, a dark horse team? Yeah.
I do see that. I do see that, Champ. Here's why. Also, too, Brian Daboll. Obviously, he's better off as an offensive coordinator than as a head coach. And outside of his first year with the Giants, when he led them to the playoffs and won a playoff game against Minnesota Vikings, it started going downhill from that point. And then, remember, teammates, players from the Giants were starting losing respect for him. I mean, he was getting to it with the offensive line. And plus, not to mention with him and Russell Wilson pushing and advocating for Jackson Dart. He has a guy in Cam Ward where he can work with. So I think this is going to be it's going to be exciting to see in Tennessee. I think there's going to be excitement, slow but steady. Plus, they have a lot of great things to look forward to. Sooner or later, they're going to have the stadium, and they're going to host the Super Bowl. I think in 2030.
Yes, indeed.
So a lot of great things to do, and also too, I hate to say this, but the NBA survey, according to the Athletic, um, the players they voted Memphis as the number one place of their destination not to be traded to. You know what the percentage was?
Dashville.
You know what the percentage was? They voted
No,
Memphis
what was it?
35.8.
Damn.
Next is like Washington, like 11.7, 11.8.
Hey, let me put a bug in your ear real quick. Guess who at the Atlanta Dream game right about now?
Glorilla?
Nope. They from Memphis.
3-6 Mafia?
Ja Morant. He's at the Atlanta Dream game sitting courtside right now.
Don't tell me you want John Morant with the Atlanta Hawks. No.
No, I didn't say I wanted him. The thing is, Atlanta is already saying they're going to be very, very aggressive this offseason. So don't be surprised if he ends up in Atlanta if they go after a big time player like that. So
I think they should just focus on drafting and developing players, champ. You need shooters. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, champ. Besides, champ, I'm sorry, but John Morant brought a lot of this on himself. If you can't discipline yourself in a place like Memphis, what makes you think you're going to discipline yourself in a place like the ATL?
That's true, but like I said, you just never know. Guys have been known to go other places and change it all around. So,
okay, let me ask you this: if Rasheed Rice goes to Atlanta, you trust him?
who?
Rasheed Rice, if he went to Atlanta to play
He
for the
won't
Falcons,
be in Atlanta. We got what we need in Atlanta.
I'm using a hypothetical. I'm just saying hypothetical.
No, I don't trust him in Atlanta because the thing is, he was when you are troublesome all around, it's like it's weird. So it's like, no, I don't trust you at all. So it's like he could come there and turn it all around because guess what? You start to realize that your guaranteed money and stuff like that is going to run out. But I can see that happening with John Morant. I can't see that happening with somebody like Rasheed Rice. Like I said, John Morant's troubles have begun because he was doing all that other stuff, and and although he never got suspended and things of that nature, although he never got in trouble technically off the court, he was doing stuff that was detrimental to his health as far as putting up the pew pew signs and stuff like that, doing that on the court, things of that nature.
Man,
But the things that Rasheed Rice was doing was flat out fucking egregious. It was flat out egregious.
Well, he's lucky. Well, John Morant is lucky that rest his soul David Stern was not the commissioner, because he would have dropped the hammer.
The hammer, he would have dropped. He'd have dropped Melnier.
But I think, Champ, I think you need a quality point guard who can spread the ball, but good enough shooter. But also, too, another problem with John Morant, durability issues. You need fresh legs. You need guys who can stay healthy on that court. So that's another thing. But back to most of trust between Robert Saleh, Kevin Stefanski. Yeah, it's pretty obvious Kevin Stefanski with the most to trust. But I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Saleh, if he somehow, some way, turn around this team, because you can't be any worse than what you were with Brian Callahan, considering the job he did last year with that team. If you can focus on the defensive side of it, meanwhile with the offense, I'm really intrigued to see with Tennessee. And the fact is, Champ, the good thing about it with Tennessee, no nationally televised games. Back-to-back years. You don't think that's going to motivate them?
Yeah, if it doesn't, you don't have a pulse at this point. If it doesn't, you don't have a pulse at this point, because if no televised games are not enough to kind of motivate you and say, hey, we need to get something going on, you just don't have a pulse at this point. And yeah.
All right. Bigfoot, let's continue on to some more NFL. Aaron Rodgers announced this will be his final season. Aaron, no doubt about it, is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, 4-time league MVP, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. I think talent wise, outside of Mahomes, is the greatest talent. Again, I want to emphasize talent, not the most accomplished, because certainly that's number 12, Tom Brady. I said most talented quarterback. I think it's Aaron Rodgers outside of Patrick Mahomes. I do see life after for Aaron Rodgers. I definitely see him doing what we're doing, podcasting, because he has a platform. He loves talking about a lot of other things and stuff. Definitely lived up to expectations because remember, he was supposed to be projected to be the number 1 overall pick, but the San Francisco 49ers, who, by the way, that was his childhood. I think that was his childhood team because he's from that California area.
Yeah, he's from Northern California.
They decided to go in a different direction and take Alex Smith out of Utah and then fell all the way to 24th overall. Sat for 3 years behind, of course, Brett Favre. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's going to be first ballot Hall of Famer, and rightfully so. My only concern, though, with Aaron Rodgers with the Hall of Fame champ, they may try to hold it against him. Because, I'm sorry, champ, look, if Bill Belichick, if he couldn't even make the first ballot Hall of Fame, that's going to be that. And look, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, he's not known for being the greatest leader or person in the world. Obviously, 2021, he caught a lot of blowback, and rightfully so, for lying about his vaccination status. But I mean, he lied. He said
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at what you, because it's absolutely true at this point. So, yeah.
No, I'm worried that them voters, that they will hold that against them. But at the same time, the Green Bay Packers knew, as well as the NFL knew, he was unvaccinated, so they were complicit. So I'm afraid that the voters, the writers, they may keep him out of the Hall of Fame on the first ballot on the first try because of how problematic he was as a person. I hope that's not the case because to me, we've seen examples, Bill Belichick, Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
So I believe, and for the record, for anyone who's saying that Aaron should not be in the Hall of Fame, I am not saying that Aaron Rodgers doesn't belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But don't be surprised that they may hold it against him. Don't be surprised they may hold his personality or anything else against him. That is the concern. But as far as Aaron Rodgers, as far as the football player, great football player, I do think there were opportunities. He should have won more than one Super Bowl. The 2014 season, when he won the MVP for the second time in his career, lost an NFC Championship game to Seattle. Let's not remember the controversial onside kick. I think it was Brandon Bostic. Then 2016, got annihilated by your Atlanta Falcons. Then 2019, losing to the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. 2020, your first time hosting the NFC Championship game in Green Bay. You lost that one to Brady and company in Tampa. Then the following year, back-to-back number 1 seeds, back-to-back MVP, you lost in the divisional round to the San Francisco 49ers, who have owned you and the Green Bay Packers. But overall, when I look at Aaron Rodgers, top 5. Top 5 quarterbacks of all time to me, I have Brady, I have Montana, I have Mahomes, I have Peyton, and I have Rodgers. So that's all I got to say regarding Aaron Rodgers. What's your thoughts, big fella?
Rodgers, end of an era, the greatest quarterback ever in history comes to an end with him retiring. I think that NFL fans, we say that, oh yeah, this era has a quarterback issue. I believe because we're so spoiled. The last generation of quarterbacks spoiled a lot of us as far as great quarterback play was concerned. You had Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. You had
Drew Brees,
Drew Brees. You had hell,
Tom Brady,
Tony
Ben
Romo.
Roethlisberger.
You had Ben Roethlisberger, Tony Romo, Phillip Rivers. You had guys who was in conversations every single year. That was the greatest quarterback era that we're ever going to see, where so many quarterbacks are in the Hall of Fame from the 2000s, from the late 2000s and 2010s era. That's the greatest era of quarterback we're ever going to see. So it is era that is probably not going to be duplicated again. We've never seen an era like that where the AFC and the NFC was just loaded with quarterbacks and they had foundations for years to come. Let's not forget about Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, guys like that.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, the greatest quarterback era in history. That puts the bed forever, the greatest quarterback era in history. Aaron Rodgers, look, do I think anything should be held against him in the Hall of Fame? No. Will it? Yes, probably. Not because of his ability, but because, his mouth and among other things. The relationships that he had with coaches, the relationship that he had with teammates, the him lying about the vaccine or what have you, which I have no problem with you not wanting to take it. That's your prerogative. But at the
Just
end of
don't
the day,
lie.
just don't lie. The thing about Kyrie is, he stood 10 toes down. I ain't doing that shit, and I
Well,
admire you for doing it. And people criticize the hell out of him, but he took the heat, and that was that.
well, not just Kyrie Irving. Let's not forget Cole Beasley,
Yeah, Cole
Kirk
Beasley.
Cousins, Carson Wentz. There
Yeah,
were other players who chose not to get the vaccine, and they were willing to deal with the consequences. But the thing is, with Aaron, no one is knocking you for not getting the vaccine. I think you just lied because when you used the term immunized, when I heard immunized champ, I'm like, okay, that's like a smart, clever way of you saying, okay, you got the vaccine. So we have no other choice but to take you at your word. Come to find out, right before the Kansas City Chiefs game, because that was the game you were supposed to play, but you were ruled out due to COVID. That was also Jordan Love's first start in his NFL career. You were ruled out due to COVID. It was later discovered that you were unvaccinated, and the video of you saying I'm immunized resurfaced. So that's on Aaron, but that's also on the NFL and the Green Bay Packers because they knew. Because when it came to the COVID protocol at that time, do you remember, Champ, with the New Orleans Saints when they got busted for violating COVID protocol? What did the NFL do? Took away draft picks.
yink yink, mink mink mink.
They didn't do that with the Green Bay Packers. They just give them like a 6-7 figure fine. Aaron Rodgers like a 5 figure fine. That's just pennies or peanuts
Yeah,
compared to what the Saints had. Because losing draft picks, that's much more to lose.
yeah.
But when I look at Aaron Rodgers, Chip, I mean, shout out to our guy Flash because again he would know because again he's around the Wisconsin area. Mike McCarthy did a lot as far as Aaron Rodgers' development because coming out of Cal, he wasn't that great as far as with his throwing motion or his footwork. So you have to give a lot of credit to Mike McCarthy in that because at times I've been critical of Mike McCarthy. I thought without Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, what is he? Mike McCarthy is a solid head coach, but I do believe that Aaron Rodgers is obviously better without Mike McCarthy. Because even though he hasn't captured a championship, he was still able to say, I've been to a couple of NFC championship games and win back-to-back MVPs.
Exactly.
And Brett Favre was a proven commodity long before Mike McCarthy and even after. Let's not forget the year in 2009, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Brett Favre, known for interceptions, 336, the most career interceptions, 7 interceptions. Statistically, the best year of his career at age 40. Almost could have went to the Super Bowl had it not been for that stupid play in that NFC Championship game.
Another bonehead play.
But Aaron, you can't disregard nor deny his production, the results. But I'm afraid, Champ, the writers, the voters, they may do something to hold that against Aaron. Because my thing is, Like I said, it should be about production. It should be about meritocracy. It should be about results. You use that to keep Bill Belichick out of the Hall of Fame, Bill Polian. And you were also known for cheating as well, as you've mentioned numerous times, champ. Remember the sounds, the signs or whatever with Bill Polian? You talk about Spygate, but also Bill Polian, let's not forget, you also cheated. And it's really because, Bill Polian, were you not jealous or envy because during your time as the general manager and team president of the Indianapolis Colts, the Patriots were kicking y'all ass during that time?
Left and right.
And
Beating them left
also,
and
it
right.
does help that you were in media. You used to work for ESPN. You know them Hall of Fame voters very well. So to me, did not play a role because media definitely played a role. Because how can someone say Bill Belichick should not be a first ballot? Now you can look at it and say other coaches who didn't make the first ballot, but is it a no-brainer? And then Terrell Owens, you kept him out of the Hall of Fame. The Pro Football Hall of Fame kept him out of the Hall of Fame 3 times. But when you look at his stats, when you look at his numbers, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But you had no problem putting in Randy Moss. And again, to be clear, Randy Moss belongs to be on the first ballot as a Hall of Famer. But Randy was just as problematic on the field, and unlike T.O.
off the field. Yeah.
T.O. had no issues off the field. So that's the hypocrisy, the double standard. But Aaron Rodgers, great football player, but I'm afraid, champ, I would not be surprised. The media, the voters, they hold, they what I'm trying to say is, champ, I wouldn't be surprised at all. They're going to try to make an example out of Aaron Rodgers and make him sit for the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me either. Would not surprise me either. Hell, if you could do it, look, in the great words of Carl Johnson from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, if that can happen to Bill Belichick, the average mofo ain't got a chance. So,
and also too, champ, we got to be very careful because next year, 2027, Ben Roethlisberger.
Hey, it's a slippery slopes are coming up. So you better get ready. You better put your skis on. Them slippery slopes are coming up, so you better put your skis on. Just make sure in the great world you don't ice skate uphill.
There you go. Champ, I don't really want to talk much about this. You can talk as much about this whole thing with Jaylen Brown and Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A., I don't understand the beef between the media and athletes at this point. You're supposed to be helping each other out. And I understand that at one point that Stephen A. stated, well, I spoke up for Jaylen Brown. Okay, that doesn't negate what you have said recently. For him, he needs to shut up and play. No, I don't have to shut up and play. And if you ever notice, a lot of stuff that Stephen A. has been saying has been real clownish and real unjournalistic at this point.
Beefing not to mention players. Contradictory.
Exactly. You can't tell.
Remember when he said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Jaylen Brown, but then he's suggesting he should build a studio. You make enough money. Stop being cheap.
Who cares about that? That don't have nothing to do with nothing. It's like, again, stop being cheap. Who cares? I'm streaming. It doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't matter at this point. Enough's enough. Stephen A. been beefing with athletes. It's just like you beefing with T.O., you beefing with Jaylen Brown, you beefing with Kevin Durant for years because you had so much to say about him. Telling him in the media, you don't want to make an enemy of me. Stephen A., you ain't got no pull like that. When the last time somebody got traded because of you? When the last time somebody ever got traded because of you? And when the last time somebody ever, got blackballed from the league because of you? When does that happen? It doesn't, because you don't have that type of clout, brother. I understand that you are the face of media right now, and you're one of the greatest faces of the media right now. But the thing is, you don't have that kind of clout to be beefing with players. And quiet as it's kept, nobody started beefing with players other than I would say maybe Jim Rome until you start beefing with players. It's weird. You are not the. I understand you can't expect something to grow and not change, but the guy who we saw from quite frankly and the guy that we see now is it's a stark contrast to what we used to see. The guy on quite frankly, he stood on principle. He was the epitome of being a journalist. He did his research. He was the most intelligent figure on television, one of the most intelligent. The guy we see now, a bunch of hot takes, a bunch of hot win. Bunch of hot takes, bunch of hot win, and now you're beefing with players. And Jaylen Brown is not one of these talking buffoons. Jaylen Brown is a very intelligent guy. He started
one
his
of the
own
reasons
shoe.
why the NBA they don't really advocate him or push him because again he's his own type of man,
Yeah,
businessman. He even has his own. I think he has like his own shoe.
yeah, he had his own shoe. He didn't want to go with the corporate shoes. He
Right
got
there,
his
you
own.
go.
So he's not one of these uttering buffoons that's not smart, that's trying to act smart and speak and you know in school drop math, science, and history. He knows what he's talking about. And the thing is, nobody expected Jaylen to do that much this year. Nobody expected the Celtics to do much this year. He should have been in more consideration for the MVP, considering that they had a very, very high seed and Jason Tatum was not in the lineup for most of the year. So he should have been pretty much up there when it came to that, as far as value is concerned. So this whole beef that Stephen A. keeps perpetuating in the media, as far as athletes are concerned, it's time to let it go. Go back to what journalism is. Journalism is not going out here beefing with players and doing stupid nonsense. Doing stupid nonsense. That's what I call it. You're a journalist. This is not Death Row versus Bad Boy. That's not your job. Cover these guys, cover them in the media, give your sports takes, give what you have to give them. But at the end of the day, guess what? The day got to end. Do your job and go home. All this beefing in the media, all these hot takes, is getting old. And the main reason why I believe that ESPN is bringing on a lot of these, outside celebrities, bringing in Cameron, trying to get back Cam Newton. Stephen A. stated that he's been raising hell in order to get back Shannon Sharp. Bringing on guys like, I said Cameron. Bring back Skip Bayless. It's desperation because they know that First Take is not what it used to be. First Take was and I'm not trying to say this disrespectfully because I know this the Mac. First Take used to be to sports what the Source magazine was to hip hop. That's what that's what First Take was at its peak.
Or Vibe magazine.
Yes. It was what Vibe and the Source was to hip hop. At this point, it's not that anymore. The ratings are going down, and even the thing is, when you bring back Skip Bayless for one episode and the ratings go up damn near 60%, that's a problem.
That just
When you're
tells you
bringing
that
on
you're not
guys like
doing your job.
Cameron, you pulling all of these desperation moves out of your hat just for ratings to go up. It's like, okay, what's going on behind the scenes that you need these ratings boosting? Because you obviously ain't bringing in the audience yourself. He keeps talking about his bosses at ESPN. They're stating telling them that he's underutilizing things like that. Yeah, because guess what? Nobody probably wants to work with you at this point. I'm just being real. What athletes wants to do an interview with Stephen A. Smith? Doing an interview with Stephen A. Smith used to be an honor. It used to be an honor. Now it's just like, I'm not finna do an interview with him.
Unless you're a former athlete, there's no current athlete that is actually going to take the time to do it. Well, the only one you would say is Jason Tatum. Because he was on
Tatum, but when you have a key figure in the media, when you had the Ahmad Rashads, when you had guys like, Bob Costas, when you had Howard Cosell, those
Michael
guys,
Wilbon.
yeah, Michael Wilbon, those guys were guys who people wanted to be interviewed by. The late great Stuart Scott. You
Yes.
wanted to be interviewed. Shaq, when Stuart Scott was working in Orlando, Shaq loved to be interviewed by Stuart Scott. He loved it. But as time went on, it's just like as time goes on, and athletes, you're the face of media, but yet nobody wants to do an interview with you. Nobody looks at you as the face. He's nowhere near what Stuart Scott was at his peak. He's nowhere near that on the icon level where, people want to do interviews with you. People looking at you as a friend in the media. And the thing is, you're not the guy who you once was that was pulling out the scoop, had the scoop on people. That's more Shams and Woles. Well, not so much Woles now, but that's more Shams Charania at this point. Did I say his name correctly?
Yeah, Shams, either way. But either way, to your point, Champ, it's just, look, my thing with Jaylen Brown, did I have a problem with what he said post Game 7 about the Philadelphia 76ers against when he talked about Joel Embiid flopping? But still, you struggle shooting from the three. So by you taking the time to go on that live stream, it does kind of make you look petty, given the fact that you had a 3-1 lead and you lost. Now to Stephen A. Smith. Again, I hate to sound redundant, but just a fact. Does that not tell you what Michelle Obama said about Stephen A. and ESPN?
Basically.
Because every single time with Stephen A. Smith, he's always getting to it with athletes or whoever. Not just athletes, colleagues, former colleagues. Kerry Champion, Michelle Beadle, Max Kellerman, Marcellus Wiley. It seems like the Stephen A. against the world. And obviously, look, Stephen A. is going to respond. Because obviously his platform and everything else. And look, I don't even pay any attention to his politics. I certainly don't agree with what he said about he wishes for one election, every black person voting Republican, which that don't make any sense to me because it seems like for black people, all we do is vote Democrats. It's not like he's acting as if black people don't have enough knowledge or intellect to decide who to vote for. And plus, with the Republican Party, what are they going to do for black people? But my thing is with Stephen A. Smith, man, look, it's no surprise. He keeps getting himself into more trouble with athletes and everyone else. And it just further corroborates what Michelle Obama said about ESPN and him being a housewife. Because remember, Michelle Obama, about a year ago, went on her podcast and felt like ESPN is like the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Because that's exactly what it is. It's just drama. If it's not drama, why are you bringing in celebrities? Why are you bringing in people to give takes? And there's nothing wrong with that here and now and then. But whatever happened to journalism, whatever happened to fairness, whatever happened to integrity and reporting, that's long gone now. As far as Jaylen Brown doing a stream podcast or whatever, I love the fact that athletes, former or current, are using their podcasts, their platform to speak on things. Exactly. So, because again, a lot of times when the media says something, can we really trust them?
Can't trust them no more.
In the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, don't trust anybody. Because at this point, we used to trust the media. If it's Brian Windhorst, I'm going to listen to. Because he has credibility. He has integrity. Rest his soul, John Clayton. If he says something, I'm going to take into consideration. Adrian Wojnarowski, before he retired, I'm going to listen to what he has to say. But it just tells you where it is right now with journalism and reporting. And it's really sad, Champ, but that's just how it is. And I don't expect ESPN to do anything with Stephen A. Smith. They're not going to hold him accountable because guess what? No matter what he says, he's finding a way to help them get their money and whatever and help them become relevant. And look, it's just one of the reasons why I think L. Duncan decided to move on from ESPN and move to Netflix. I mean, look, anytime when Kendrick Perkins said that ridiculous take, I mean, ugh. But I'm digressing. But my point is with Stephen A. Smith, you journalist and a reporter, and on top of that, don't you got more important things to be worried or concerned about with this situation?
It's weird.
To say it's weird, it's not put. It's just insane. And it seems like to me we can't just go by reporting and journalism. It just seems like it's always drama and beef. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. But big fella, my favorite subject on the Sports PSP podcast. Babyface or heel. Now, for those who may not know what babyface heel means in wrestling language, babyface is a good guy, heel is a bad guy, a tweener is someone in between. Champ, this is a very controversial person that I'm about to name. I will say tweener. Tony Dungy.
Tony Dungy, controversial?
The comments he's made about the anti-LGBTQ.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do you remember what he said about Michael Sam? He wouldn't want to draft Michael Sam. Remember when Michael Sam came out?
Yeah.
And then he also said, I would welcome in Ray Rice, knowing what Ray Rice did. That's why I lean towards tweener with Tony Dungy.
Okay,
Look,
I see what you're saying now.
Right. And for the record, I am in no way knocking Tony Dungy because obviously Christian. He has done a lot of great things. Keep in mind, champ, during Michael Vick, when Michael Vick was incarcerated due to dog fighting, Tony Dungy was one of the people that actually visited Vick while Vick was incarcerated. You would know, Leavenworth.
Yeah. Nasty.
So Tony Dungy played a huge role in terms of helping Michael Vick resurrect his career. Of course, first black coach to win a Super Bowl. You know, obviously, in the Ring of Honor, both for the Indianapolis Colts and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yes, people, even though John Gruden won that Super Bowl, that was Tony Dungy's team. Because remember, Tony Dungy was still Tony Dungy after he departed from Tampa Bay was still able to have success in the NFL with the Indianapolis Colts. Mm-hmm. I mean, his record as an NFL head coach, 148-79, which is a 65.2 winning percentage. He was 139-69 in the regular season, 9-10 in the postseason. His overall record in Indianapolis, including the playoffs, 94-33 regular season, 85-27. I have to lean towards a tweener because of the comments he's made about the anti-LGBTQ community. And look, again, I have no problem with anyone following the Lord and the Bible, but to attack and hurt another community like the LGBTQ community, that is a problem. And I also get tired, and I'm sorry, Champ, I must say this, I do get tired of some Christians thinking like they're holier than thou and treating other demographics and communities like they're nothing. Just because you follow the Lord and the Bible, and that's all well and good, does not necessarily make you a great person. Because a lot of times people have cherry-picked and used the Bible for their own personal benefit or gain. One of the reasons why, Champ, I call Charles Barkley, even though I have him as a tweener, but the reason why I say tweener with Charles Barkley, he has been a strong advocate for the LGBTQ community. Yeah. You mentioned Reggie Jackson, God rest his soul, supporter of the LGBTQ community. There have been examples of other people who follow the Lord in the Bible, but also support the LGBTQ community. Magic Johnson.
Yep.
His son Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union, their child.
Yep.
So that's why I say tweener, because my thing is this with Tony Dungy. You have a problem with it, like you said you wouldn't draft Michael Sam on your team, but you're more willing to bring in Ray Rice, knowing what Ray Rice did. And hearing that from you, considering the clout and cachet that you have, you're also speaking to the rest of the NFL teams because that's what the NFL is willing to tolerate. So that's why I lean towards tweener. There's a lot more examples I will bring in regarding the anti-LGBTQ, but what are your thoughts, Champ?
Controversy sells, but it ain't like this.
Did I lie?
You did not.
I
Damn.
don't have a problem with you labeling him babyface though, because of all the other great things that he's done.
I have to say babyface, man. I know exactly what he said. I really think that the words that he said about Michael Sam were misconstrued in my humble opinion. And I can revisit that because he was an analyst down there at NBC because he stated that he didn't want to draft him because of the distraction that it would be bringing outside of football. And to his point, people were more focused on his sexuality more than how good that he was going to be playing football. Mind you, before Michael Sam even came out, he was defensive player of the year, the SEC. He was one hell of a sack leader. And
Yes.
I really feel like he didn't really get a shot because of certain things. And I will say because of his sexuality, because when you're SEC defensive player of the year, especially back then, it's just like, and you wash out that fast, you are in the seventh round, you get drafted in the seventh round. I call foul play. Just gonna be real. But now he wasn't that big. He was only 6'2", 6'3" as a defensive end. But we see smaller guys get there. When you talk about Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney, Darrell Tapp, who was only like 5'11", Elvis Dumerville, who was only like 5'9", 5'11", out there being a sack master as well. But I really think that he didn't want that distraction because of all the other stuff that it would have brought to the team. And he's went on record and said that at that point. He's went on record and said it had nothing to do with him in particular. He said he just didn't want the distraction of the team. Now, to your point, he did say he will bring in Ray Rice. But the thing is, you got to think about why he said that. You got to think about the fact that he did take risk on guys who had quote unquote character issues. Remember, the thing was, Warren Sapp fell in the draft
He had character
and he
issues
had
himself
character
during the
issues.
University of Miami. Yeah.
Yes. So he was able to get guys right as far as, guys who having character issues, the linebacker from Miami, the middle linebacker. I think his name was I forget his name uh at this point. But he was able to get a lot of guys on the straight and narrow path. And Michael Vick was the poster boy of that as well. So I will say this, man. I label him a baby face,
Babyface.
because guess what? He was able to help a lot of guys out who went down the wrong path. And he was able to keep guys from straying along the wrong path. Remember, I'll never forget an interview that Warren Sapp did. And he said, Tony Dungy taught me there's a lot of things in this world. One thing, and there's a few things that'll keep you out of jail and off of the cover of the USA Today. Drugs or guns, out past midnight, women who you don't know well or not well enough, and just being at the wrong place at the wrong time and you get bit. So Tony Dungy was able to keep guys on the straight and narrow path. Do I agree with a lot of things he said about the LGBTQ community? No, I don't. I don't. But I really think with Dungy, the good outweighs the bad at this point. Good outweighs the bad. Because guess what? When you, if you had another guy, if you had any other person and they were not LGBTQ and they brought distraction to the team, would anything else be said about that?
No,
Probably not.
I think Champ, I
Because
would hold him to the same standard like anybody else. the reason why I have a problem with people questioning the sexuality, I understand to your point why he felt like bringing in Michael Sam would be a distraction because of the organization, how the rest of the other players and the team would feel around the NFL.
Yeah.
But regarding Tony Dungy and his anti-LGBTQ remarks, Dungy, remember, political opposition to same sex marriage. He's been an active opponent of same sex marriage and adoption by gay couples. In 2013, he was heavily criticized for headlining a fundraiser for the Indiana Family Institute, which is an organization dedicated to opposing same sex marriage, social media, and anti trans rhetoric. Dungy has used his social media platform to criticize the LGBTQ lifestyle, same sex marriage, and gender inclusive policies. Back in January of 2023, he faced widespread outrage after retweeting and endorsing a debunked harmful conspiracy theory that U.S. schools were placing litter boxes in bathrooms for students who identified as cats. He later apologized for the post. No, I'm not making this up, Jim. You can just look it up on Google.
I'm not laughing. No, you know me, man. I will laugh at anything. Oh, I apologize. Look, for everybody who's watching, I apologize. I'm being a little bit too silly. I'm not. That's unprofessional. But the fact that he retweeted something involving cat little shit, like, bruh, what the hell, Tony? Come on, baby. That's fucked up. I-
Then also his history of statements, including comments comparing LGBTQ identities to quote a lifestyle or promoting debunked urban legends, has led to frequent calls for his dismissal from NBC Sports. While LGBTQ advocacy groups and some NBC employees have petitioned the network, NBC previously distanced himself from his comments while retaining him as a studio analyst. So he has been consistent with his history. Champ, look, two things could be true. Tony
yeah,
Dungy has done some good things within the NFL as far as turning around people's lives, but I cannot disregard some of the comments that he has made about the LGBTQ community. So
that's fair.
that's where I lean towards Tweener. I'm not going to call him a heel. I certainly wouldn't go that far, but I can't necessarily call him a babyface.
Yeah. With Tony, yeah, he has some real kind of questionable rhetoric, especially with the whole cats shit. I didn't even know about that. Thank you for educating me. That's how come I that's how come I call you the New Jersey genius. But to me personally, when you are willing to take a lot of troubled guys up under your wing and give them another way and help them find their way back and help them when probably nobody else would and give the good word for them. Like I said, I think with the good outweighs the bad with Tony. I know it's controversial and I might get heat, but I think the good outweighs the bad. And when you think about that, he wasn't around here. And although I disagree with his takes among as far as that aspect is concerned, I strongly disagree. You know, I got family. But we'll leave it at that. So yeah, do I disagree with that? Yeah, but with Tony, the good outweigh the bad. It's kind of like having a preacher and he's taking kids in, doing everything what he's supposed to, but his rhetoric is kind of harmful at times. That's how come I label him a baby face at this point because I can't disregard some of your speech and some of your kind of harmful rhetoric at a certain point. But at the same time, when I look at a lot of guys who you took risk on, the guys who you led not just on the football field but in your community, it's hard for me to overlook that at this point. It's hard for me to overlook that, especially with you being the first black coach in the league. With you being the very first black coach in the league.
To win the Super Bowl.
So, him and Dennis Green. And back then, it was just him and Dennis Green. And so for you to be the first in the league to lead a team like the Tampa Bay Bucks with a lot of big time personality, keep a lot of those guys out of trouble, keep them on the straight and narrow, and make sure you teach them the right way. I can't ignore that. But at the same time, I can't ignore some of the speech. But you're more closer than a baby face than a tweener or a heel. Because from a societal standpoint, you've been a model citizen. You've been a lot, and you've been to the point where, okay, harmful rhetoric, harmful speech, but yet and still, I can't overlook the things that you have accomplished and done, especially you being the first black coach. And that's not just because of his race. That's just seeing what I did. When I was young, Tony Dungy's poster was on my wall. Mild-mannered guy, never yell, never scream. And guess what? He was able to keep guys in line simply by teaching. He was able to keep guys in line simply by teaching. You heard they never, I mean, Warren, can you imagine guys like Warren Sapp, Derrick Brooks, these loud personalities, and he never raised his voice? Even Peyton Manning said, never raised his voice. I'm
Yeah,
going to talk to you like this. He
he's
told the
very
guys,
mild
first meeting.
mannered. He's very mild mannered. He's very personable. Um, I'm sorry, I know I sound petty with this from Tony Dungy, but I still can't get over last year's Super Bowl. Because remember, Rodney Harrison, he was so pissed off that Bill Belichick was not inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Remember their encounter with Rodney Harrison?
Yeah. I mean, look, man, there's a lot of jealousy when somebody whooping your ass for a long time, man. It's just a lot of jealousy when you get your ass.
I'm not saying that Tony Dungy had something to do with it,
I'm not
but
saying
at
that
the
he
same
did either,
time,
but you
but
know, when somebody you get your ass out the frame, I mean, it's very, very hard to want to root for somebody. So of course, you know, I don't, you know, him and Bill Poley and guys in the media, you know, hey, they gon' they go they go stiff you one time or two. If I look, it's kind of like what we say down south. If I don't get you on the wash, I'm gonna get you on the rinse. Got him on the rinse.
all right. This one, another controversial one. Very obvious heel. Greg Hardy.
Next. You know what? I laugh at dudes like that because you out here beating on women, and then you get into that octagon and then getting your ass whooped constantly. So, I mean,
What goes around comes around.
I mean, you getting your ass whooped constantly. You fought 13 MMA fights and lost 5 of them. So it's obviously where your energy is at this point. You're just a big old ball of air. So, you know, you out here putting your hands on women, but, you know, you getting your ass whooped in that octagon. So, serves you right. So, I hope your ass get whooped again.
Now, for those who may not, for those who may be unaware of what Champ was referring to, Greg Hardy. Remember back in 2014, 2015, I think he was convicted in a bench trial of domestic violence. Nicole Holder, the woman at the time who accused Greg Hardy, said that Greg Hardy threw her on a bed filled with rifles. Then he was convicted in the bench trial after she gave sworn testimony. But, Champ, in the state of North Carolina, you can appeal for a jury trial. Greg Hardy was granted that appeal. And when the jury trial transpired, Nicole Holder, for whatever reason, was not there. Ultimately, it was discovered that she and Greg Hardy reached a financial settlement. And Deadspin, they released the photos of Nicole Holder being bruised. You can see bruises on her back, her shoulder, her chin. Those photos are disturbing, to say the least. And look, the other problem with Greg Hardy, Jerry Jones. You brought him in. Now, obviously, you brought him in because he was a 26, 27-year-old guy who was a stud pass rusher, especially the year he had in 2013. I think he had 16 and a half sacks around that time, helped Carolina Panthers win the division. They finished with the number 2 seed in the NFC. He goes to Dallas. It's an opportunity for him to rejuvenate his career. He served, but remember, in 2014, after just playing the season opener, he was suspended for the rest of the 15 games. He was placed on the commissioner's exempt list. He was still getting paid. But then in 2015, do you remember, Champ, after he served that 4-game suspension, because previously it was from 10 to 4?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the first game? It was against the New England Patriots. Remember when he talked about guns are blazing, and then he started talking about Tom Brady's wife, Giselle Bundchen, ex-wife now. You remember the comments he made about her?
Yeah. Again, bro, people get pew-pewed for less. Just being real. I'm just being real. Don't be talking about nobody's wife or what have you, or that's weird, bro. And that, like I said, Hardy was always one of these weird guys that just so happened to be an athlete.
Hell, he was making rap videos during that time.
Yeah, like I said, he was one of those weird guys who just so happened to know how to play football. And guess what? When you got into that octagon, you got your ass whooped. So I'm so happy, and nobody was more happier than me. You want to sit around here, you want to beat up women, go fight them men and let them beat your ass. So I don't feel sorry for him. I'm glad you're out the league, and I'm glad you're getting your ass whooped. So,
Can't blame me. All right, last one. This is involving a wrestler. I think it's pretty obvious he's a babyface. Booker T.
that's an undisputed baby face right there, man.
He's the black Jerry Lawler.
I will say this.
The reason why I say black Jerry Lawler, because when Jerry Lawler, when he starts looking at the women and the voices, the sounds that he makes.
Oh, oh man. But I don't blame him.
Especially, I love the job he does at NXT, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's great. I mean, Harlem Heat.
Greatest tag team ever.
Yes. And remember, at that time, during that time, it wasn't that great for black wrestlers.
Yeah. And look, people can say whatever they want to, but Booker T himself verified this. Shout out to Hulk Hogan, because he said to himself that Hulk Hogan elevated his career. He personally spoke up for him in order to elevate his career. So yeah, so big shout out to Hulk Hogan for speaking up for Booker T. And like I said, it's just something I just made up. This is something that Booker T has said himself.
He has.
So big shout out to Hulk Hogan for recognizing someone with talent. I mean, even when Booker T was the world television champion, he was, you saw the talent was there. Him being a part of one of the greatest tag teams, argue the greatest tag team, in my humble opinion, in history was Harlem Heat. I loved Harlem Heat, man. You know, I mean, the big back, man, them doing the missile drop kick while they had their opponent up on the Stevie Ray's shoulder. That was amazing. The Harlem Hangover, which was one of his lost moves, the missile drop kick. That was great, man. Booker T is the most decorated champion, arguably in history, because you really
Five-time
think about it.
WCW champion.
Yeah, 5 time he won every single title in WCW. Won every single title. Then won every single title in the WWE with every odds stacked against him. Remember,
Especially in 2001, because remember when WCW lost the
yeah,
business when Vince McMahon bought it. Remember, Kevin Nash, Goldberg, their contracts, they had good contracts. Their contracts were guaranteed.
yeah,
Their thing was sit at home, chill, wait till this contract runs out. But Booker decided to take a chance and say, nah, you know what? I could sit at home, but let me go challenge. Let me go take on this risk in the WWE. And do you remember against Stone Cold?
yeah, yeah. That was Booker T. Like I said, with all odds going against him, not just about his race. Let me just clear that up. Not just about his race. You got to look at the history of the WWE with WCW guys. They buried a lot of them. They buried a lot of them. Let's just be clear. They buried a lot of them, and unfortunately for them, Triple H was the barrier. The only two guys that they just couldn't flat out bury was uh pure WCW guys, because you got to remember Nash, Hall, and Hogan, they were WWE guys. Pure WCW guys that they could not bury was Goldberg and Booker T, because they had just that much talent and they had just that much aura. So those are the only two guys that they just couldn't bury. Hell, look at how they made Sting do a job for Triple H at WrestleMania. You know, I mean, there's a lot of WCW guys that could have did a hell of a lot better in this business in the WWE, but unfortunately, they were buried by Vince McMahon. If you look at 2003 Triple H's title run, there's a pattern in that whole title run. All of it was burying WCW guys until he got to Goldberg.
Yep.
You think I'm lying? Go back and look at it. The first
I'm
part of
not
the year,
saying you're lying.
buried Big Papa Pump, buried it, got buried. Then tried to bury Booker T, couldn't do it. Then finally, he was able to get to Goldberg. Goldberg had so much aura, you couldn't do that to him. So yeah, man, it's at this point, it's like, hey, but Booker T is the most underrated wrestler in the business. Won every title in WCW, won every title in WWE, won every title in TNA, won every title in 3 different promotions. That speaks on the talent that you have. He's certainly in GOAT conversations. Not even guys like his resume when it comes to black wrestlers, untouchable. Even guys like Ernie Ladd, JYD, Ron Simmons, Farouk, those guys can't
Junkyard
touch
Dog.
WC. Yeah, those guys can't touch Booker T's legacy. He won in every promotion he ever went to. And like I stated, in WWE, he had all odds going against him. There was burying WCW guys, and guess what? His race was a factor because guess what? They was known for burying a lot of African American guys, and that's been happening since the beginning of time. So, if you ever notice, they always make the guys who are very, very serious. They make it look like jokes at the end of the day. So, yeah. So, I mean, look at what they did to Ron Simmons when he first got to the WWE. Put that damn gladiator helmet on his ass after I just won the WCW champion and beat one of the most legendary heels of all time, that being Van Vader. So, yeah.
But Booker T bet on himself, and eventually it all paid off. And shout out to our guy from the JV podcast. Let's go Knicks. Look, man, you gonna get to the finals, man. I mean, we know you're gonna win that finals. Don't worry about it. But Booker T easily a baby face, and of course, him and Stone Cold. That supermarket incident, that's still one of my favorite. Price check, you're a jackass, and then you're beating them up. But you knew that Booker had talent. You knew that Booker was in the right situation. The one thing I hated that happened to Booker when he won the title, how the way they took away they stole that great moment from him. Yeah. Because I'm talking about Bash at the Beach. I'm referring to. Remember when Hogan wanted to win the title? It was orchestrated for Booker T to win it, but Hogan wanted to win it first because he exercised his creative control clause. And yes, JV, one game at a time. I'm traumatized. Look, you're gonna win. You're gonna win the Eastern Conference Finals. I understand it's at Cleveland, but you got this. I mean, if Josh Hart can play like this, especially how the way Jalen Brunson did, I mean, hey, you'll live with it. But Booker T, man, and I call him the Black Jerry Lawler because, man, when he talks about them women, kind of like.
Oh, yeah. I love Booker T, man, and him hanging out with Sexy Red and things like that. That's genius, man. And look, I like Booker T, man. Booker T was one of my favorite wrestlers, man. Have some good matches in WWE, have some great matches in WCW. But like I said, won every title and every accolade that you can ever want. Like I said, he's definitely in GOAT conversations. If you don't believe me, look at his resume. He won every title, every single promotion that he's been in. Most guys, when they win every title in one promotion, we put them in GOAT conversation. When you talk about guys who have won everywhere they went, have shined everywhere they went, it's amazing what he was able to do. And my favorite segment outside of that You know, that supermarket situation. Remember when he was in TNA and he was walking in the ring and he was commenting on everything that he was doing. And Booker T goes for the scissors here. What the hell is going on? Yeah, that was
No, that is nothing compared to him.
it doesn't compare, but I love that. But I love the
No,
fact
no,
that
no,
he
not
got
the
into the ring.
not the supermarket one. You know
Yeah,
which one
it
I'm
doesn't
about to
compare
refer
to it,
to.
but it was
No,
funny as hell. What the
no,
hell is
no,
going
not
on?
that one, champ. Not that one. I'm referring to him, his wife, and John Cena. See, I just made you spit the water out.
I'm gonna get your ass. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Just one
One
night.
night
Just one night.
on.
Just one night.
Oh my god!
No, I know. You know they got. You know, the funniest part about that is Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill do the same thing that LL used to do when she pissed somebody. She, you know, the licking of the hand and shit like that. You know, what I'm saying? They got so tired of LL Cool J doing that shit that they just turned the camera away every time he started doing it. That was funny as hell.
but
Yeah,
yeah, that was good, man. But speaking of wrestling, champ, we got to go back to the Sports Illustrated list. Sorry, folks, we were supposed to discuss it last week on the Sports PSP pod, but we're just gonna take real short, quick, simple thoughts on this Sports Illustrated. They came up with the top 20 greatest WWE superstars of all time list. Here it goes. From top to bottom. Number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Number 2, Hulk Hogan. 3, The Rock. 4, John Cena. 5, Roman Reigns. 6, Undertaker. 7th, Triple H. 8th, Shawn Michaels. 9th, Bret Hart. 10th, Bruno Sammartino. 11th, Randy Savage. 12th, Kurt Angle. 13th, Roddy Piper. 14th, Edge. 15th, Randy Orton. 16th, Andre the Giant. 17th, CM Punk. 18th, Chris Jericho. 19th, Mick Foley. 20th, Becky Lynch. Okay. Champ, you may agree or disagree on number 1, but I don't think you really have much of a problem with Stone Cold being number 1.
no, I have no problem with Stone Cold being number 1. I have no problem with Hulk Hogan being 2, 3,
But
Rock.
Roman Reigns at 5.
Norman Reigns does not deserve to be at number 5. People can talk about all they want to, but the thing is, look, I'm gonna just be real. Taker has to be in that top 5 conversation. Well, look, I'll take that back.
He
Shawn
should be
Michaels
top 4.
has to be in that top 5 conversation. I don't know what I don't know what I understand that we try to give the guys who are recently in the mix, who are just reigning that are on top at this time. But the thing is, name me a guy that can have a wrestling match with the broom and make him look good. Shawn Michaels over Roman Reigns every single time. Shawn Michaels could have a match with me and make me look like $1,000,000. I don't think Roman Reigns could do that.
No.
I don't think Roman Reigns could do that. And the thing is, I understand we're trying to get the recency bias in there, and I understand that we're talking about the street, but nobody had 2 careers other than, I would say, Hulk Hogan, quite like Shawn Michaels. He had the first part of his career. Well, he literally had 3 damn careers. When you think about it, you had a tag. He was part of one of the greatest tag teams of
The
all time,
Midnight Rockers.
the Midnight Rockers. He was part of one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Spent off from that and had a hell of a solo career. Had back-to-back WrestleMania matches that were memorable. One with
And
Big Daddy Cool Z.
let's not forget 2002, his first match back from that 4-year retirement.
Yes. Had 2 back-to-back matches that just sold the show when it came to WrestleMania. Had the match with Big Daddy Cool in the New Generation era, then the 1-hour Iron Man match. Revolutionized that. Helped revolutionize the ladder match with Big Daddy, with Scott
Scott
Hall,
Hall, rest his soul.
aka Razor Ramon, God rest his soul. Who was in the first Hell in a Cell? Arguably the best Hell in a Cell match in history.
Him and
Shawn
Taker.
Michaels and The Undertaker. When you think about the matches that he helped revolutionize, Hell in a Cell, the ladder match, Shawn Michaels. 3 Stages of Hell, one of the best matches, one of the most underrated matches that you ever
Him
want
and
to see
Triple H in
against Triple
2002.
H. Yes,
Let's not
indeed.
forget. Let's not forget the Elimination Chamber match.
Yes. The Hell in a Cell Part 2 match.
Bad Blood.
Bad Blood, 2004.
4.
You're not going to get one of the best Hell in a Cell matches that you're ever going to get. His WrestleMania appearances, this WrestleMania performance against Kurt Angle at his peak.
Let's not forget Jericho 2 years
Exactly.
before that.
2 years in a row. So you got to put Shawn Michaels. I'm taking Shawn Michaels above Roman Reigns because he was able to do a lot of great things. Then I got to put Taker. Taker was the face of wrestling for so long. And he could have a match with a broom. That's the thing. You got to take into consideration more than just titles, more than just recency bias. You got to think about the impact they had on the business, the matches they put on, and the things that they were able to do. When you think about Shawn Michaels, when you put Shawn Michaels' resume against Roman Reigns, I'm taking Shawn Michaels' career. When you put The Undertaker against Roman Reigns, I'm taking his. Even Triple H, he was able to get some knockdown, drag-out matches. Remember the matches that he had with the late, great Chris Benoit?
Right.
With the Iron Man match. Remember the matches that he had in one of the most violent matches?
3 Stages of Hell.
Yes. All of the Hell in the Cell matches that Triple H had. Entertaining. Brutal.
Well,
the
not
fact
just
that he was able,
well,
the
not
fact that
just
he
the
was able
fact
to
that he
put
had
guys
great.
over.
Well, not just the fact that he had great matches, champ. Also, too, other than Roman Reigns, Triple H also had great mic skills.
Yeah,
As
great
the
match.
heel during the time in the Ruthless Aggression era, who name someone better who Jim Ross despised more than Triple H during that time?
Nobody. And look, and Evolution had a hell of a lot more aura than the Bloodline.
That's just a
It
fact.
was, and it was generic. The thing is, it was organic. It wasn't being forced down our throats every other week. Evolution was the 4 horsemen of its time, one of the most hated groups in history. And it was able to produce world champions. It did its purpose. It had the nucleus that was the present and the past with Ric Flair and Triple H. And it spit off 2 of the greatest superstars ever in the form of Randy Orton and Batista. That's how a group is supposed to go. It spit off not just it spit off not just one of the best baby faces during the Ruthless Aggression era, but one of the greatest heels of all time. Heel Randy Orton is diabolical. He was even more evil than Triple H was at his peak.
Can I say this though? What do you think about Edge as far as heel?
He was better than Edge as a heel.
Yes.
Randy Orton was better than Edge.
No. Obviously, Randy was a better heel than Edge was, but Edge wasn't shabby though. Although
Edge wasn't shabby, but
I'm
Randy
sorry.
Orton. If I'm a fan, I'm thinking about rushing the rushing the ring because of Randy Orton.
Not just that, champ. I'm watching the bed scene incident with him and Lita. So, but yeah, easily Randy Orton as a heel, especially in 08, 09. That was at his peak as a heel. As a heel, especially what he did to Stephanie McMahon.
Yes. What he did to the whole McMahon family.
Yes.
Took them out one by one. Until Triple H came back.
We grabbed the sledgehammer, went to his house, and
that's how you pull up on somebody.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Crazy. It was crazy. Look, and like I said, I got to put Undertaker, Triple H, and Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels over Roman at this point.
I agree there.
Because the thing is, like I said, I'm not going to get caught up in the recency bias of it. Guess what? These guys had a hell of a lot more knockdown, drag out matches. The feuds were more memorable. And look, they came into their own very much organically. They wasn't being forced down our throats. We hated Shawn Michaels at one point as a heel. We hated him one point as a heel. Hated him. When he was a babyface, he was a babyface. He was never forced down our throat. At one point, everybody was booing Roman Reigns. And it wasn't until they finally decided to make him a heel that, okay. And
They
even
tried to make
then,
him a babyface early on, but that didn't work out.
yeah,
So obviously, they
yeah.
had to move
So,
into a
and the
different
same
direction.
thing happened with Rock. But the thing was, it happened
Die, Rocky, die.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, it happened so organically with his heel. It was easy to hate him. So, yeah, it's just like, you're not going to sit up here and tell me that Roman Reigns have had better feuds than Shawn Michaels, better feuds than Bret Hart, better feuds than The Undertaker, better title runs. I mean, no. People want to get caught up in one of the longest title runs in history. Okay,
But there's not one moment in Roman Reigns' career that you look at and you say that's equivalent to what Shawn Michaels was. I think
no.
the reason
Or
why they
Triple H.
right, but the reason why I think they put Roman Reigns over him because when they look at when he was at the top of the company, how was WWE? I think people knock Shawn Michaels because when he was at the top of the company the first time around, the ratings didn't go so well. The ratings were in decline.
Yeah.
But was that really his fault or was that really Vince McMahon's fault? Because Vince didn't get ahead with the times, as you often mentioned, between the war between WCW versus WWE. Vince, even though he perfected it, as you said, Bischoff was the one who initiated it.
Yes. And the thing is, the thing that wasn't his fault that people don't mention, during that time before the Attitude Era, between the Attitude Era and the golden age of wrestling, the new generation is what I like to call the lost era of wrestling. Because guys who were on top during that time in WCW or WWE, whether that be any one of those companies, they don't get their just due during that time. The new generation era is pretty much the lost era. And when you really, really put it into perspective at this point, like I stated, nobody remember outside of certain things, you really don't remember the new generation run. You really don't remember. If it wasn't for guys like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and a couple other guys, you really wouldn't remember it. You rarely just there's not that one moment in the new generation era that makes you stand out. Why? Because it was just in between generations. A lot of people had stopped watching wrestling. A lot of people, the arenas were not full anymore. It wasn't just the WWE. Remember, before they hired Eric Bischoff, they had a cornucopia of superstars in WCW, and they couldn't draw flies. They couldn't get their arenas full until Eric Bischoff. Now, granted, you had a lot of guys who was, not necessarily running the company right, but you know, both WWE and WCW, they were not, able to draw flies at a certain point.
I think this was more Vince's fault, champ, because again, Vince's refusal to get ahead with the times because the cartoon superhero days and time was evolving. And in that generation, people were looking more edgier and raw, more attitude. But do I hold that against Sean really necessarily? No, I just look at Vince refusing to get ahead with the times at that particular time. So I don't look at it as Shawn Michaels as a failure. Here's my biggest problem with this list. I like Becky Lynch, but I'm sorry, my girl Trish Stratus should be the one.
Exactly. Greatest women's champion of all time.
Let's not forget the main event match that she had with Lita. And when it comes to her in ring ability, I'm sorry, Trish Stratus has to be. If you're gonna throw a woman into that convo, it has to be her.
Either her or Moolah, who
Fair
won.
enough,
Either
but
her or Moolah, but I mean, I would prefer Trish Stratus, but we can't you can't disregard the late great fabulous Moolah, but who held the title for over 10 years. So if you're going to put a woman there, you got to put either Trish or the fabulous Moolah in there. So I mean,
then the other problem I have with this list, I'm sorry. Mick Foley is a little too low for me on this list. 19? Granted, I get it. He's not the greatest guy as far as he's not great when it comes to like being a technician. But Mick Foley, as far as with the promos, as far as with the legendary matches and stuff like that, he deserves to be a little higher than 19 to me. At least 15, 14 in my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, man, a lot of flaws in this list. We be here all night. Shout out to the great BRF, man. I wish he was here because if he was here, we'd probably be here all night. But yeah,
He'll
there's a lot
probably
of flaws in this
he'll
list.
probably say Cena. We all know he has Cena as the GOAT. But to me, look, honestly, overall, you don't have a problem with Stone Cold being number one, even though people knock the fact that he did it 5 years. But it always piggybacks to what Ric Flair said on Chris Van Fleet's podcast. It's not necessarily who did it the best. It's about who did the most for the company.
Yeah.
Steve was the guy for that company at that time. And remember, WWE, they were struggling financially. They had to take out loans just in order to make payroll.
Yeah, him and Rock was essentially the Larry and Magic of the WWE of wrestling, period. Nobody was watching wrestling until watching the diehard fans. We were always there.
Well, we were diehard fans
Diehard
like
fans,
ourselves. We
casual.
watched wrestling, but even you even got convinced to a point. You started watching the WWE because of Stone Cold.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bird and Magic. Him and The Rock was the Bird and Magic of the WWE. He was the Bird and they were the Bird and Magic of the WWE because during that era, everybody was watching wrestling. Everybody. And guess what? You cannot deny when that glass hit, bling, the whole arena finna jump off the floor. You can't deny it. That whole arena is gonna jump off that floor. It's gonna be an ovation like you've never seen it.
I hope Trent doesn't watch this podcast because he thinks I'm just accusing of being young, hating on young people.
Yeah,
kind of like how he is hating on the old people.
Yeah, Trent hates old people.
But shout out to Trent. I mean, definitely knows his football, his wrestling and stuff. But Taker, to me, he should be in that top four. My Mount Rushmore is simple: Austin, Flair. Regardless of what you want to say about him as a human, I have to throw in Hogan, and then I throw in Taker. I mean, and it's tough because again, I forgot Cena, but again, that's tough for a Mount Rushmore because Flair, you even argue, champ, he's the GOAT because what he was able to pull off and do, mind you, no social media.
No social media in the territories at that. Cable TV wasn't at its peak. I mean, to have one of the first stables in order to just go worldwide, for you to be making millions of dollars when everybody else was just, I mean, it was amazing. And like I say, much like Booker T, he was able to succeed in multiple companies. Trained by Vern Gagne, the late great Vern Gagne in the AWA. Succeeded with him. Succeeded in the NWA. Succeeded in the WWE. Don't forget the reason why Vince McMahon was so scared about the Montreal screw job, about somebody was going to take his title to another show, is because he did it first. He brought the WCW title to the WWE when he brought in Ric Flair for the very, very first time.
Which is why you've often said the Medusa incident had nothing to do with it because the WWF title didn't carry as much weight like it does now.
Yeah.
But still in all, he wouldn't trust Bischoff.
No, I wouldn't trust him either. So it's kind of like trusting, Big Night to bite you and you're in the jungle. So,
yeah. Well, do you trust Bischoff the same way you trust Cheyenne Bryant to say that she's a doctor?
Yeah, I trust her to say she a doctor. You hear me anytime, baby. It's all right.
But look, the real reason why the Montreal Screwjob thing, it wasn't because he didn't trust Bret Hart. It's not like Bret Hart had a reputation of not having integrity or not doing business.
Yeah, he was
Matter
part
of
of the
fact,
business.
matter of fact, Vince, according to Jim Cornette, Vince McMahon said, "I trust Bret not to do that." Nobody didn't trust Bischoff because they're worried that Eric Bischoff would go on WCW's airwaves and reveal, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news: Bret Hart, the WWF champion, has agreed to a deal to join WCW. I mean, think about it. He's known for revealing what the WWE was going to do. Remember when Mick Foley won the title in '99?
Yep. The biggest blunder in the history.
But it worked out for Mick Foley because look at that the reaction to when he won the title. So, oh man, but this list, look, I got no problem with Stone Cold 1, 2, 3, 4, but Triple H, I don't have Triple H above Shawn Michaels. And even though that's a more compelling argument than Roman Reigns above them, but Shawn Michaels as far as with the in-ring ability. The in-ring ability. Now, if you want to make an argument for Triple H because of the mic skills, yes, mic skills compared to Shawn Michaels, yeah, I have to give that to Triple H. I think Triple H also gets a bad rep, champ, because obviously with what he's doing right now with the WWE, I think that's another reason why people diminish. But you can't disregard what he meant during the ruthless aggression era and as one of the best heels for the company.
No, indeed not. You can't deny that. Cannot deny it.
But I'm sorry, Trish Stratus should be in that list. Other than the other wrestler that you mentioned, Mugla. But Trish Stratus, I'm sorry, no disrespect to Becky Lynch. She's a hell of a wrestler, a hell of a performer. But no Trish Stratus, given her in-ring ability.
Yeah, that's flagrant.
Yeah.
That is flagrant.
But let's move on, big fella. Favorite Denzel Washington moment? I'll let you go first.
King Kong ain't
got nothing on me.
But that was probably the most iconic Denzel Washington movie that I would, because everybody wanted to go see Training Day, man. Training Day was one of those classics, and you didn't expect, Denzel is his range is so it's astounding. It's astounding. He was able to play a guy like a Denzel Washington. He was able to play the infamous Frank Lucas. To be the antagonist in a dark story. People don't realize that both Training Day and Grand Theft Auto Vice City, well not Vice City, but San Andreas, both Officer Tenpenny and the cop that Denzel played was both based on a true story. It was based on a Los Angeles cop that got caught robbing a bank. So it was based on the true story. Not only was that cop caught robbing a bank, reportedly that same cop had something to do with the Biggie Small slaying. So that character that he brought to life in the form of Alonzo was based on a true story. Can't leave out the Malcolm X, man. Can't leave out Malcolm X. One of the best performances that you ever want to see. Um, I love when he had that little incident with ASAP Rocky when he took his watch from him and was showing it on the television. That was cool stuff right there. Denzel, hey man, look, you can Denzel, the contributions that he made for the late great Chadwick Boseman for his education, the fact that he always tries to elevate the younger generation. Equalizer, Equalizer, that was good. Man on Fire. I wish you had more time. Shout out to Rec Room Sports, by the way, because they use that on their show all the time. I wish you had more time. That was good.
Remember the
Um,
Titans?
yeah, remember the Titans. Remember the Titans, based on another true story. Um, that
Oh,
strong, huh?
I'm sorry. Flight. I love the movie Flight. That was
January
a good movie though.
on October 13th, 14th, and 15th, I was intoxicated. I'm drunk right now because I'm an alcoholic. I'm drunk. He said I'm drunk right now. Oh man, that was legendary. Mo Better Blues was very, very good, man. When he played that musician. That was good.
He Got Game.
He Got Game, that was good. You know. One of the more obscure movies, I won't say it's obscure, but one of the more forgotten movies is Ricochet.
Mm.
I never forget when him and Ice-T co-starred in the movie Ricochet. When he was playing that cop who became a district attorney, and they used to call him Preacher's Kid as a child. He grew up to be the district attorney. He went down one path, Ice-T went down another path, and in order to get this criminal off the street, he had to team back up with Ice-T, who was a big-time dope dealer during that time. And that was good to see Ice-T and Denzel. When you look back on certain things, that was legendary, man. Denzel, man. GOAT. When you put Denzel in the movie, the shit gonna sell. When Denzel comes out with the movie, whether it was the 90s, the early 2000s, or any time you put Denzel in a movie, the shit is going to sell. Everybody going to see it. And that is what puts him in GOAT status. When you have people making memes about, I guarantee it. You got people making memes about you, man. That just goes to show you how much aura that you got. And big ups to Denzel's son because he became a good actor as well.
Yes.
He became a great actor as well. Went to an HBCU.
Yes.
Morehouse. So, and I like Denzel because look, he's not phony. He's a very much no nonsense guy. He's had to check a few photographers in his day, tell him to stop touching him and stuff like that. So, I mean,
although I don't understand how he a Dallas Cowboy fan, but that's a story for another day.
I mean, he's a Laker fan too, by the way. He's a Laker fan too, by the way. So,
so what? I know plenty of people who Cowboy fans and Knicks fans.
Yeah, he's a Laker fan too. Because my mom's a Laker fan. She's always talking about Denzel. When they show Denzel on the side, like, oh, Denzel at the game. So and and look, man, at his peak, the ladies love Denzel, man.
Oh yeah, he was.
Denzel. Everybody loved Denzel. So Denzel Washington, man. Hey, man, Mr. Washington. I'm not gonna call you Denzel. I'm gonna call you Mr. Washington, Mr. Wash. Thank you, because when I saw you, every time you was on a movie, I was able to see myself in a suit. Even when you played an American Gangster, I wanted to wear a suit because of that. When I saw you on Remember the Titans, those speeches that you gave those young men made you want to run through a wall. When I saw you on Training Day, no, I couldn't be a criminal, but the thing is, you want to tap into that little gritty side that you had in you. Mainly when I was boxing, you tapped into that side. So everything Denzel did, it made you want to mimic it just a little bit. Not so much the extent of you being his character, but the extent of you being this intellectual, being that had so much aura, and his range was just of that. And he was one of the few guys that I hate never got to play. I hate that the Marvel universe happened, later on in his career, because I think that he would have been great in those own right. But I think he was able to make up for that with the Equalizer. I think Equalizer would give John Wick if they had an actual shootout or run for his money. So that's just a thing. But Denzel, man, Mr. Washington, you made my childhood great and my adulthood great, man. And every time I saw you on a movie, I say that guy's intelligent. That guy's brilliant. He has aura. He has stature. And that's what I want to be like when I get older. That's what I saw. And like I said, the ladies love Denzel. So, that's all the ladies used to talk about, especially back in the 90s, man. You remember, even on the Jamie Foxx show, Fancy. She had in her diary You know, she wrote in her diary about Denzel Washington. You know, Monique, turn around, Denzel. You know, everybody loved Denzel Washington.
You had to use
Denzel
the
was,
soul plane line.
yeah, you know, turn around, Denzel. So, you know, everybody, hey, Denzel, that name holds weight. So, shout out to Mr. Washington, man. You did the damn thing in your career, man. There's a lot of guys that there will never be another one of. There will never be another Denzel Washington. There will never be another Denzel Washington. There's not even a guy that was close. The only guy that had a chance to be what Denzel was is unfortunately gone, and that was Chadwick. That was the only guy that's alive or dead that ever had a chance to either match Denzel or eclipse him was Chadwick. I like Michael B. Jordan, but I don't think he has the range that Denzel or Chadwick has at this point.
Stole a lot of my thunder, big fella. Flight was a good movie. Definitely love Remember the Titans. Although it wasn't like a huge hit in terms of box office, one of my favorite underrated movies that Denzel was in, Antoine Fisher.
Yes.
Just hearing the type of experience that Antoine Fisher, went through, losing his father after being murdered by one of his girlfriends, having gone to foster care, then going down to, I believe, the Navy. Just hearing the story and just, I love that movie. I mean, the chemistry between him and Derek Luke, that was actually great. That's like one of my favorite Denzel movies that I love watching. And shout out to our great guy, the Pitch Grid. Remember, the Titans is always a classic. I cry every time watching it. Man on Fire. That was a great movie with him and Dakota Fanning. I love
Yeah.
that one. Flight. I, John Goodman was a fool in that movie. So, but oh man, but those types of movies. But Antoine Fisher, that was the one I really loved the most from Denzel. Although people look at Training Day, they look at a lot of other Remember the Titans and everything else. By the way, another underrated movie that he did, him and the late great Whitney Houston.
Preacher's wife.
I
Yeah,
like
that
that.
that that look, that one right there, all my aunts, my mother, my older cousins, my older girl, everybody went flocking to the damn theater in order to see Whitney Houston and Denzel when they made that movie. I think the the, the theater was right up the street from my house when I lived down there in the Dub. We
Yes.
called it Columbus Square 8. Yes, Hurricane. But everybody and their mama quite literally went to the movie theaters when they made The Preacher's Wife. That was that was a good movie, and The Hurricane was good too, man. When I did more research on that movie, and and I got into sports journalism, that was one of the first articles that I in fact wrote. I wrote that for a journalism class that I had in school about the Hurricane and how deadly that he was. The real Reuben Carter, he was the middleweight version of Sonny Liston. He was the middleweight version of Sonny Liston, had he reached his full potential. So if you go back and look how big the Hurricane was, he had to. There's a reason why Denzel Washington had to bulk up for that movie because the real Hurricane, he looked like a heavyweight and he could hit just like one.
That was good, man. But Denzel, man, an icon, transcendent figure, pioneer. A lot of actors looked up to him. I can't forget the conversation he had with Jamie Foxx.
Get your hands off me. I'm leaving here with something. I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something. So, Denzel, man, that aura is unmatched, man. And you know, Denzel, man, Mr. Washington, thank you, man. You know,
Oh, another one from Pitch Grid. Let's not forget the Pelican Brief.
be a Pelican Brief. Hey, look, one of my favorite Denzel Washington moments. I lived it firsthand. One of the biggest attraction when people would come down here to the HBCU game. We used to have the Tuskegee and Morehouse game every year down here at Memorial Stadium down here in Columbus, Georgia. When his son played, Denzel Washington came to every single game.
Wow, really?
Yeah, go back and look. I mean, he was one of the star attractions that was going to be at the game. When every year that his son played for Tuskegee Morehouse, he was down here at the Tuskegee Morehouse game. So that was one of the moments that I'll never forget because everybody say we saw Denzel, we saw Denzel. So shout out to Columbus, Georgia, as I always say, and Memorial Stadium. I played in that stadium a bunch of years during the football days, from Little League all the way up to high school. Columbus reopened up that stadium. That's a big part of the city. But seeing Denzel Washington at the classic, at the HBCU Classic every year when his son played, that was a great moment as well because hell, he was even in one of the commercials down here in Columbus. He was on the news and everything.
Absolutely, man. But when you think of great, excellent black actors, Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Jamie Foxx, Will Smith, but Denzel in the class in a different category on himself, by himself, man. But shout out to the great Denzel. And shout out to the great Pitch Grid. Still can't believe Denzel was in Gladiator 2, which that was good though, too. But last but not least, big fella, favorite Bobby V track. Tell Me. Shout out to this woman on TikTok. I followed her, the great Kiki. She follows a lot of great music content. Please take the time to go check out her TikTok. She does a lot of great content regarding R&B music. Lights Down Low. I love that track. Him being featured in Lil Wayne's track Mrs. Officer.
Wee, 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 like a cop car.
I love those tracks from him. Beep featuring Young Jock. Beep 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 beep. So I love that one, and then of course, Tell Me, and him being featured on Ludacris's "Pimpin' All Over the World."
Yes.
I also love the part with the end with Cat Williams in the end when he's trying to count down the rest of the pimps.
Oh man.
Pimpin', pimpin'. But really underrated voice, really smooth, sweet voice. Man, Chad, we had a lot of great R&B artists back in the day. A lot of great music back in the early 2000s and 90s, man. But what's your favorite track from Bobby V?
Oh man, I'm in the mirror like, ooh, in the mirror like, ooh, in the mirror like sex in the mirror like. Oh man, I love that song. Slow down. Slow down and bless me with your beauty, cutie. I tried to sing that to somebody to this girl one time. That shit failed miserably. She laughed me out that damn building, but you know we went out on a date anyway, so I did something right. But look at PST's face.
What you gave? What you gave her the hel-
I mean, he
You
got the
gave her the
job
heli-
done. I
What?
mean,
What you do? You gave her the helicopter. You gave her a lap
no,
dance.
not the first date. The helicopter got to wait to at least the fifth date, so you can't. You can't go straight to the helicopter. You got to wait to the fifth date. You got to wait to the fifth date to try to pull out the bag of tricks. But slow down. Tell me, how did you get that in
In
those
those
jeans?
scenes,
Oh man, that was
it's
good.
killing me.
I mean, I gotta say, Mrs. Officer was arguably my favorite song. I know it wasn't his song, but I used to walk around. We used to walk around the mall in Augusta when I was in the army, saying that I make her say we. We used to walk around singing that song, man. That was a amazing. That was an amazing song, man. That was crazy. Pippin all over the world. So that was a song that he did with K Michelle. Look it up.
Yes.
So look it up. So I mean, and
She
K
fine
Michelle,
though.
absolutely. So
Although I disagree with her take on Memphis, and I
nope,
understand.
nope, 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 nope. We're
No,
not
no,
finna.
yes, 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 yes. I'm standing on principles. I ain't lying. Did I
I mean, I'm
lie?
just saying.
Did I lie?
You don't
Did I
lie,
lie?
but you know, on one hand, it's kind of weird, but on the other hand, it can all be so simple at the end of the day.
Although she from Memphis, one thing she'll never be accused of is being ugly.
See what?
Although she from Memphis, one thing she'll never be accused of is being ugly.
No, she good. She hood as hell now, and she's hey man, you gotta have that. You gotta have that mixture, man. I mean, she's a Southern belle, but she got that edge to her. You know what I'm saying? You gotta like that about the ladies, man, especially down south, man. Get the ladies down south, they got that Southern belle to it, that Southern bouginess to them, but they also got that edge to them. And depending on how much of an edge you want, they got them down here. So I mean,
Yeah,
shout out to the
that's why you can't stay away from them damn
oh,
wags.
bro. Just don't do that. Don't reveal the secrets. But don't reveal the secrets.
I've already revealed the secrets. Hell, last week you spent a lot more time with them women than you are with the fridge. But
we go. That is not true, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that is not
that is not true.
that is not true, ladies and gentlemen. You sell them porky pies,
Look
but
at them big ass glasses of his and that big ass smile. We all know he lied.
don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah. But Bobby V. But yeah, man, there's a lot. Like I said, Southern. Shout out to all the Southern Bells, man. There's a lot of them down here. A lot of classiness, a lot of ratchetness, a lot of mixtures things. Hey, got to get somebody who can do both, man. That's why I love K Michelle, love Megan, and all of the Beyonce. She's the Southern Belle. If you look at the landscape of hip hop right now, a lot of the finest women come from the South. So that's just being real. Oh, hands on me. Hands on me. That was a good one. Lights down low. Uh, in crazy places. When him and Gucci Man did that. Um, I gotta take it back to Mrs. Officer because that was the great one. I know that wasn't his song, but hey,
That
it was
voice.
great. And Butterfly Tattoo, that one was a good one too. Butterfly Tattoo, that was good too, man. Hey man, look, shout out to Bobby V, man. We had a lot of great guys who were underrated at that point. I love the aviator shades, man. Bobby V could rock them damn aviator shades, my friend. So, you know, Bobby V could rock those aviator shades, man. And him rolling with Disturbing the Peace, uh, him being the voice, the softer voice of that, considering, they had a lot of, a lot of hardness in that group. You had not just Ludacris, you had Chingy in that group, you had
Yeah,
I-20, you
yeah.
had you know, you had Shauna, you had all of that. So, for him to be the R&B guy of that group, that was a
That was nothing compared to Nelly with that tip drill video.
we're gonna say that for another day, but
Thank God for BT Uncut back in them days. Lord have
bring that
mercy.
back, man. Except put it online, man. Bring back uh them videos. So yeah. Thank God I wasn't no millionaire back then, because I definitely would have been in that damn video doing shit I know I ain't got no business doing. Thank God I wasn't no millionaire back then. But yeah, but look, man, shout out to the New Jersey Genius, man, doing this thing. Got the fresh hair, you know what I'm saying? Doing this thing, man. I'm damn proud of you. You're doing your stuff up, man. You're doing it up, man. Over almost to 160 at this point, man. Coming up with brand new topics every week that all of us can sort of relate to, and we can look back on our childhood and relive these songs and relive these moments. And shout out to you, man. And shout out to Mama PSP, the great D, Kia, Franny. Shout out to all of you guys, man, and just happy Memorial Day weekend, man. I'll be remiss if I didn't say that. Don't act the fool this weekend. Judge don't get back to win. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. So big shout out to Sports PSP, man. Keep doing your thing. I'm damn proud of you. Uh, which jersey you got on this week?
Loving basketball one.
Oh, snap now. That's good.
I
That's
should have
good.
worn it last week when we were doing the favorite Sanad Lathan moment, but I
Yeah.
figured, I like this one for now.
Yeah.
But you never know. I'm gonna probably buy some more throwback jerseys, more movie jerseys. So I also bought me a Tape Street Kobe Bryant hoodie.
Oh.
Yep, only $75. Thank God for All Star Elite.
Nice.
So I got it at a very good price because normally those prices they're like 110, 120 something. I got it at a very good price, so I love it. Sooner or later, I'm gonna buy me an Allen Iverson one. So but I'm either gonna think about buying me another Tape Street hoodie or a Kobe high school jersey.
Yeah, Lower Marion High. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I love it. And as always, shout out to the great Pitch Grit. Please go follow him, not just for football, also for soccer stuff. He does a lot
yeah.
of great content regarding soccer. So please make sure you go on the lookout for the Pitch Grit. All I'm gonna say to wrap up the show, big fella, I'm proud of you. Continue the great job that you're doing with the WNBA. Listen, he is the Ahmad Rashad when it comes to the WNBA. Everything that's going out there with the WNBA, follow Undisputed World Champ, although he does love the WNBA woman for a different reason, but that's a story for another day. He lied. We all know that. But again, Memorial's Day, take the time to thank the military men and women, former or current. Thank you. Thank you for their contributions. Thank you for your services. As you previously mentioned, Champ, even though we're happy that we're taking time off and having fun with barbecues and things of that nature, and that's all well and good, but let's not forget the main important focus. Then, like I said, just happy right now. I wish BRF was here. The show would have been a lot better, but either way, we're still going to keep on the show. Love you, BRF. Hopefully, we'll have you back on. Stay tuned for next week on the Sports PSP Pod. Favorite Samuel L. Jackson moment. So,
hey, that recent one, you watched The Boys, right?
yes,
Yeah, you saw the recent one that he had, the D.
I still say my favorite. I'll leave. I'll just say it, Coach Carter.
Yeah.
Coach Carter, because how it's kind of like how with Denzel Washington to some extent. Remember the Titans, even though it was in the 1950s, 1960s, with Remember the Titans compared to Coach Carter in like the 90s, early 2000s. It taught men, young men, to be men, to be disciplined,
Yeah.
and helping them from and turning them something into nothing. Because in Richmond, as he said in the line, growing up here in Richmond, you're 80% more likely rather than go to prison than college.
Yeah.
Those are the stats for your ass. So, but Samuel L. Jackson, and of course, Snakes on the Plane. So I actually love that Snakes on the Plane and a lot of other things. And then, of course, Do the Right Thing. But everyone, take the time, enjoy. Happy Memorial Day. President Trump in the White House just recently posted a video of Stephen Colbert. President Trump, please do a better job serving this country and doing a better job. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm petty, but hey, I mean, look, that's why I love Jim Cornette so much. I mean, he gives me the license to say whatever I want to say. But for the rest of everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe. If you're gonna drink, please drink responsibly. Have a good time, and we is out. Peace.